Insurance. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hello, everyone from Baker County. What a great place to be on a Friday and a beautiful one in Northeast Florida. Finally, the temperatures are where we need them to be for some October high school football. Our Action Sports Jags game of the week. Two really good football towns. West Nassau comes in 6-1. And, of course, Baker County, one of the best in the area. If people ask where you go to watch some high school football, Baker County right up there. West Nassau is not a bad place. We say Camden County, Lake City, Columbia, St. Augustine, all on the list, and a lot of other places, by the way. But this is one of the best. They love their high school football here at Baker County. And that is host of our Game of the Week, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. And I'm not alone here. The stadium's right over there, Memorial Stadium. But we've got some friends here cooking some food. Some chicken and rice today. They say it's the best around. We're going to try that, if they don't mind, here a little bit later on this afternoon. The weather is good, coming off a nice Zach Brown band concert last night. I feel pretty good. No Austin Lane today because he is back home. Well, not really back home, but back at Murray State, which he did call home for a bit. We've got a reunion happening at Murray State this weekend, a 10-year reunion with the football team. So he is there. He will check in from Murray State. Hopefully the trip went well last night into today, and he made that trip successfully. Kuz is back in the studio. We'll be joined, of course, by the Action Sports Jax guys and a couple of other guests along the way, including Micah Ross, former Jags player, former JU Dolphin. And he will join us in the 5 o'clock hour because he's going to help me call the game tonight. Kevin Sullivan is out of town. He's been joining me for all the Action Sports Jax game of the week on ESPN 690, but it'll be Micah Ross instead. Well, how about sports? It's a pretty crazy thing these days. Patrick Mahomes, a big story. We'll talk about it. And in general, I think it's worth revisiting the quarterbacks. I made a list today of the quarterbacks that everybody thought would play in the NFL this year, your fantasy football drafts and your fantasy football teams, and how teams thought they might be based on the quarterback they might have. And while there has been some talk about the Minshews of the world and the Kyle Allens of the world and what they've been able to do, Teddy Bridgewater included, we've seen those guys up close the last few weeks. It is still astonishing if you look at the list of names that are not playing here so far in 2019, and some of them are gone to the bench and might not come back. Others might come back because of injury. And Patrick Mahomes, that was a scary situation for him last night, but it checks out to be okay, at least for getting Mahomes back for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's a big thing, not just for the Chiefs. Obviously, it's huge for them. But I think it's a big thing for the NFL. You don't want your stars going down. And already they had lost several of them, including Drew Brees, for a good period of time. Like I said, the Saints and Bridgewater have fared well without him. But I think for the sake of the NFL, the brand of the NFL, watching the primetime games, Kansas City, that offense, that's fun. That's like the most fun thing going right now in the NFL. So Patrick Mahomes looks like he'll be out a few weeks, but should be back. So really good news for the Chiefs, and it probably doesn't change the balance of what could happen in 2019 in terms of the playoffs, the Super Bowl, and who many people think could still advance. Although Mahomes does have to get healthy because even outside of the knee, he was banged up a bit already this season. The New York Yankees are on the brink. We don't talk a lot of baseball, probably won't talk a ton of baseball, but I do want to rinse the Houston Astros a little bit later on. And I've done this in the past, if you've heard me before, whether it's on social media, TV, or radio. And what the Houston Astros have done and what they have built is really the envy of just about everybody across all major sports franchises. What they did is what a lot of teams now are trying to do in Major League Baseball, but not just Major League Baseball. And the Astros' plan has worked almost to perfection. Now, they'll have to get a couple more rings probably for it, maybe at least one more. They already have one, but how bad they were earlier this decade has transformed into this for the Houston Astros and what looks like an unbeatable almost baseball team at the moment, and they have the Yankees on the brink after going up 3-1 last night. We'll have some balling and falling along the way. We'll have our celebrity six-pack, and we'll do our picks coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Because our celebrity might just be Micah Ross. How about that? Or if Austin decides to call it. We'll just call it that this way. I took the easy way out on a busy week with all the Jalen Ramsey conversation going on. But they're all celebrities in our books. So we'll have our picks coming up with a few college games and a few NFL games to boot. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, we talk about them all the time. We are not going to spend a ton of time talking about Jalen Ramsey today. Hey, even these guys said, all right, I'm tired of the Ramsey talk. I get it. How will it impact this football team? And last night on Jaguars All Access, we had Miles Jack, we had Calais Campbell. And I think this football team continues to be focused despite all the Ramsey news, questions, headlines of the last month. And I think that's a really good thing. Continue to really give a shout out to Doug Marrone. But there's a caveat to that. They need to win. And they need to win Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. That has not been underscored probably enough this week. Across the city of Jacksonville, just how much this football team needs to beat the winless Bengals. It is must-win territory, and the season is really on the line, in my opinion, in so many respects. Now, it doesn't mathematically eliminate them, absolutely not, but the Jaguars know they're facing a team that's not very good, a team that's beat up. The injury report is out. Cincinnati won't have half their secondary. Doesn't look like they'll have Carlos Dunlap, A.J. Green. I mean, this team is not good already, and they're depleted, too, at this point in the season. So this should be a get-right game for the Jacksonville Jaguars on both sides of the football, and it's a very important one for the Jaguars to take care of business. Meanwhile, they should get some help. And Josh Oliver, I can't wait to see Oliver play. So much so that in my fantasy team, I picked him up last week because I wasn't sure if he was even going to play on Sunday. And now Evan Ingram's coming back for the New York Giants. And just from a fantasy point of view, I might still ride with Josh Oliver because I think he is going to be heavily involved in the offense. On the injury report for the Jags is also D.D. Westbrook with a shoulder injury. He's been limited this week in practice. How much will that hamper them? We already know Marquise Lee is out. Jeff Swaim, of course, the concussion. And James O'Shaughnessy, the ACL. So the Jaguars slowly, not headline grabbing, but underneath the surface of all this Jalen Ramsey and Gardner Minshew talk, they're starting to lose people on the offensive side of the football when it comes to receiving and blocking on the outside with Lee and Swaim. And then, of course, O'Shaughnessy was off to a nice start until he had the ACL just a couple of weeks ago. And Josh Oliver could be a big helper for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I also expect Chris Conley to be heavily involved in the game plan. If you saw the remarks from Doug Marrone on Monday after that loss Sunday where Conley was held in check, in fact, shut out, I think they want to get him more involved, along with DJ Chark, get him back on track. And as I always say, I think they have to give the ball and find ways to get the ball to D.D. Westbrook, assuming he will play on Sunday. We'll see if all that shakes out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It'll be Cincinnati, 1 o'clock on CBS 47 on Sunday. Again, there's no other way to put it. The Bengals are just bad, and you almost wonder now if they just want to be bad because they'll have a top draft pick and they could wrestle Miami for that number 1 pick. Are they ready to move on from Andy Dalton? Probably, but they did pick up Ryan Finley in the draft last year. Do they still feel like they could go get another quarterback if they're picking in the top 1, 2, or 3? I would say that answer would be yes. So you got to go get it done on Sunday for the Jags. And then if you look ahead, which the team won't, but I will, I really believe they also have to beat the New York Jets here at home. It does not add up to go to 1-3 at home in 2019. That doesn't equate to the postseason. It just doesn't happen. And the Jets are 1-4, but I'm telling you, the Jets will come in here a better football team than their record will indicate. They'll have Darnold back. I think they'll actually play the Patriots tough on Monday night, believe it or not. I really do. I think that will be a good game. I'm not saying the Jets will win, but I really think that will be a better game than most people think. And I think the Jets will come into Jacksonville playing their best football of the year. That will not be a walkover in a couple of weeks. But we all know these 2 weeks are super critical for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's about all we have today. That's it. We got a lot of that. Oh, yeah, Florida State, Georgia. Haven't checked in with UCF in a while. Miami got a big win over Virginia last week. I do have a question later on about Florida and Florida State as it pertains just to tomorrow. Florida State has a big game at Wake Forest, a team that has been pretty good, although they gave up 62 points last week in a 62 to Hey, Coos, rescue me a little bit. I got like a bug in my throat.
Sorry, I wasn't sure what was going on there. I was like, wait, what just happened? Did he fall?
I was getting all choked up talking about the Florida State Seminoles, believe it or not, in Wake Forest.
I was taking a look at the camera. I was like, did he die?
I just swallowed a bug or something. That was crazy. I was like, I think I can fight through this. Maybe I can't. But anyway, I'm back. Thanks for coming to the rescue. Wake Forest, and then Florida has South Carolina at noon. And I don't know what kind of South Carolina team we're going to get. Are they still ecstatic about that win? And that was their one-off win over Georgia. A huge upset, obviously the upset of the year in college football. Or are they finding themselves a little bit? Will Will Muschamp have them ready to go back-to-back weeks? Tough task to beat a Florida team. And Dan Mullen usually has had his team ready to go. He finds ways to win. I'm not as concerned about Florida, but I do have a question about these two games tomorrow, and we'll have that coming up in a little bit on the college football part of our show. But I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get a drink of water. Maybe get some chicken and rice. Hopefully not swallow any more bugs. And we'll join you from Baker County. We got our Action Sports Jags Game of the Week on ESPN 690. West Nassau at Baker County. It's a good one. It will kick off tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll talk a little high school ball. And a fun town to be in, a beautiful day for it. Yeah, no sun, but that's okay. It's a comfortable day here on a Friday. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Coming back with Patrick Mahomes in the NFL and all the quarterbacks. I'm going to give you the rundown. Is this good because we're seeing turnover and seeing some good performances? Or at the end of the day, is it bad because, well, you're losing a lot of stars and names that people recognize from an average fan standpoint? We'll get into the quarterback discussion, which includes Gardner Minshew, of course, next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mild temperatures again today with increasing and thickening clouds. A shower possible by late afternoon and highs in the mid to upper 70s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond. Ace is celebrating their 95th birthday with sale prices for you. Ace pleated air filters, assorted sizes, buy two, get one free. Bird seed, just $9.99 per bag for 40 pounds of wild bird food, or 20 pounds of black oil sunflower seed. Fortify your turf from the cold with Fertilome Winterizer, now $17.99 per bag. Shop the 95th anniversary sale-abration at your neighborhood Ace. For additional sale items, visit jaxace.com. Get it delivered by shopping at acehardware.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
You know you'd like to add an $80 gift card to your wallet. Well, that's exactly what you can get this October at any of Tire Outlet's 9 locations. We're here to tell you about the Yokohama Fall Rebate at TireOutlet.com. You'll receive up to $80 on a Visa prepaid card or Visa virtual account with your purchase of 4 select Yokohama tires. The Yokohama Fall Rebate offer, only this month. See more rebates and info at TireOutlet.com. Wholesale prices, premium service.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota CHR? It's not $22,660. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota CHR at Arlington Toyota. How about a Toyota Tacoma? It's not $29,635. No way. It's just $23,888. $23,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Tacoma at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
I think Carson Wentz is going to come back and have a resurgent year.
Are you not concerned at all with the lack of depth at quarterback position? They had to rely a lot on Nick Foles. Carson Wentz gets hurt every year.
Not every year.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
Not too many people get hurt on a sneak, and so it's a freak thing, and it happens. So I was proud of our guys stepping up, and they didn't let down, which you've seen that over the years. You've seen teams that let themselves down after one of your best players or the best player gets hurt, in particular the quarterback. And I was proud that our guys just stepped up and kept battling and really everybody upped their game, I thought.
Well, that's Andy Reid talking about Patrick Mahomes, and that's one of those moments in the NFL where on a Thursday night, and this would have probably happened at 1 o'clock on a Sunday too, but when it's Thursday night football and everybody's watching, everybody but me because I was at the Zach Brown Band concert, but when everybody's watching, everybody's like, whoa, right? Because everybody's got a stake in Patrick Mahomes. The NFL has a stake in Patrick Mahomes. He's maybe he's probably their future face of the franchise, but he might be right now the face of the NFL, not the franchise, but the NFL. So obviously the Kansas City Chiefs have a big stake in it. Everybody across the rest of the AFC, especially in the AFC West, certainly has a stake in this because, Mahomes' injury could impact how Kansas City plays. They have a dynamic offense, but it's a little bit different when you have Matt Moore at the helm. And then I think fans certainly have a vested interest. One, people are buying jerseys. Even if you're not a Kansas City fan, you're probably a Mahomes fan. That's the way it is nowadays. A lot of people are just fans of players and not so much the organization, even if they have a loyalty to a certain team than your fantasy football team. So think about all the different, and I know that's trivial, but I'm just saying everybody, when they're watching it, has that. And then just the fact that, hey, if you don't care about any of that stuff, you're talking about a great player right now in the NFL getting hurt. You never want to see that in any sport. So that Patrick Mahomes injury was a big deal. And the good news today, and I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, is it looks like it's a 3-week type of injury, which is what the speculation was last night. But the MRI showed that it's about the best case scenario you could get for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. So it's a few weeks for him. And remember now, the Chiefs coming off a couple of losses. So people are like, what's going on with the Chiefs? Then they're going on a road on a short week, and they took care of business. Now, I was a little surprised. I actually thought the Broncos might be playing good enough football to get them on a Thursday night, and that wasn't the case. Broncos were awful. That's a different issue, and one we won't really talk about maybe until Ryan O'Halloran rejoins us next week. But Kansas City win that football game was an impressive win, but coming off 2 losses, your quarterback's already been a little gimpy anyway, and now they lose him for 3 weeks, and at the time you didn't know if they'd lose him for even more. So it really changed or could change the balance of things in the AFC. And that's kind of the way it's been with quarterbacks in 2019 here this year. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit. Not just Mahomes. Like, how much the next 3 weeks matter for the entire AFC playoff picture in the AFC West. I mean, the Chiefs are sitting in a pretty good spot, record-wise, obviously. So I don't really think it will change too much. Might they drop a game or even 2, but they'll still be sitting in an okay spot considering the Chargers aren't doing much right now. The Broncos stink. And the Raiders are 3-2, but I don't know if they have believers all across the league just yet. So that injury, I don't think will cost the Chiefs as much as one might think here at the moment. Now, it might cost your fantasy team a little bit. That's certainly a possibility. But think about the quarterbacks that have gone down here in 2019, and it's unbelievable. I went through this list today as we were thinking about what we're doing on the show. Mahomes Cam Newton, he's probably coming back soon. Nick Foles here in Jacksonville. Sam Darnold went out with mono, of all things. Now he's back, and I think the Jets will play better because of it. Ben Roethlisberger, star. Mason Rudolph, not a star, but still, they're on their third quarterback in Pittsburgh, or at least they were, so that's notable. Baker Mayfield all of a sudden has some injury problems. They have a bye week, I'm pretty sure, this week, so that should treat them well. Andrew Luck retired. Marcus Mariota, not hurt, but just stinks and lost his starting job. Eli Manning, not hurt, just old, and lost his starting job to Daniel Jones. Mitchell Trubisky looks like he'll be back, but he was out for a couple of weeks. I'm not sure how good he is anyway. And Drew Brees, obviously a big name. I probably shouldn't have saved him for last on that list. But I just named off, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 quarterbacks. Now, 2 of them are on the same team, but 12 quarterbacks. There's 32 teams in the NFL. That's a third of the quarterbacks in this league have either been benched, injured, getting old, whatever it might be, not going to be able to cut it. And teams went into this season thinking, all right, here's our guy. Here's what we think we can do. We can make the playoffs because of this guy. Well, not the case in a lot of them. But the caveat there is what we've seen across the league, and that is Kyle Allen and Teddy Bridgewater, and here in Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew, have played well enough, and some other spots too, by the way, but those 3 in particular have played well enough to kind of keep their teams afloat and then some. Kyle Allen is now having discussions in Charlotte about the Carolina Panthers, whether, wait a minute now, maybe is Cam Newton, is it right to put him back in? Gardner Minshew was playing well enough until last week where here in Jacksonville, people not even sure they wanted Foles to come back in. And maybe have reset that a little bit in the last couple of days, and I think we'll see what happens over these next couple of weeks to see where everybody's mind is on that front. And Teddy Bridgewater, I think as great as he's been and as good as they've been in terms of winning football games, I don't think there's anybody saying, okay, when Drew Brees comes back, I think we're going to keep Teddy Bridgewater in. That has certainly not been the case. So I think Brees has no problem. I think Cam Newton's going to get his job back, quite frankly. I do, as long as he's healthy enough. And here in Jacksonville, I think it's still undecided on the Foles front, although I think, like I said yesterday on the program, you have to start with Foles is coming back in mid-November, and it's his job. Now, do we get to a point like we did for the first month of the Gardner Minshew mania where you say, wait a minute now, should we upset this if this continues? Well, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of that conversation. 3 games, Cincinnati, the Jets, and then in London against Houston, and then a bye week, and then Foles comes back. So what does Minshew do in these next 3 games to give you thought, give the Jags front office pause, coaching staff, and say, wait a minute here, we might not want to change this over. We've kind of done this now for a couple months with Minshew. Here's our record. Here's where we sit. We have no idea what that will be like, but he still has a chance, I think, to kind of hold off the Foles return where it sits right now, although I'll reiterate what I said yesterday and just said a minute ago. I think you have to start from, hey, this is his job. Foles is coming back. I expect Foles to play against Indianapolis in mid-November. I do. That's where my mind is on this until I see otherwise over the next few weeks. And I'm not sure that would have gone over well if I had said this last week in that kind of way. But I think now the Jaguars are coming off a 6-point performance. They're 2-4. Minshew looked like he struggled, looked a little bit more like a rookie. I think more people probably are in that train of thought as well, although hopeful that Minshew can bounce back this week, get it rolling again, get Minshew Mania alive again, and then maybe hold off a Foles because it's been fun. It's been fun in the first 5 or 6 weeks of Minshew's career to watch it. Speaking of Nick Foles, an update on that. He's eligible to return in mid-November. That's November 17th at Indianapolis after the Jaguars have a bye week. He's actually eligible to return to the practice field next week. So Wednesday, he is eligible to be back on the practice field and coming back from that broken clavicle. And that's what happens when you go on IR. I mean, your injury might be shorter than the actual date you're eligible to return to play in games, but you can still hit the practice field for the first time. And that's the case with Nick Foles. And that's where the conversation probably gets a little bit more interesting. One, how does Minshew play on Sunday? What do the Jags do, win or lose? And then quietly, how does Nick Foles look healing from the broken clavicle and kind of taking over that team again, and in the mindset of, hey, this is my team in a few weeks. I'll be ready to go. I think there's a lot that still can play out on the quarterback front for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But overall, I'm sorry about your fantasy football team. One, because if you have Mahomes, you're hurting for the next few weeks. But even if you thought this year taking any of these guys, from Foles to Newton to Big Ben to Drew Brees to Andrew Luck, because remember, even the Andrew Luck news, it happened before the season. I think some people had already had their fantasy football drafts, and then he retired. So it's been pretty amazing to look at all the quarterbacks that have gone down. And it's not a great thing for the NFL. It's a good thing that Mahomes is not out longer. I think this would change this conversation. The two guys that are really out that hurt the kind of the NFL from a broad standpoint are Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes. Well, fortunately, there's enough star power still going on. You've got Tom Brady, you've got Aaron Rodgers, guys like that are still – Russell Wilson, don't leave Russell out, that are healthy, playing well, and their teams are winning, and they're playing in prime time, and it's fun to watch from a broad, casual fan perspective. But if Mahomes had gone down, that would have really hurt the NFL here in 2019, I think. The good news is he's coming back, and same for Drew Brees. Drew Brees, I think, is part of that conversation, and the fact that he's coming back certainly helps that fact along that, okay, we can deal with it for a few weeks as long as it's not the entire year. Remember, that was a conversation years ago, along with the kneeling down, right, in the NFL, and everybody's talking about ratings. Well, what also happened along that time is Peyton Manning retired from the NFL. And so you lost kind of one of your iconic players along with Brady. And sure, Rodgers might fit that bill too. But you lost one of those guys that you would see in prime time 3, 4, 5 times a year, and didn't have it. So no doubt the quarterback situation trickles down to not just the current team, but across the whole entire NFL and even your fantasy football team. Not done talking about the Jags. When we come back, we'll have a special guest joining us about the Jags this week, the running game, and a little bit maybe more on the defensive performance of the Jags. We talked about that on Jaguars All Access last night. The Jags need to get it going, not just on offense, but on defense, and especially in one category. We'll talk all about it coming up from Baker County, our Action Sports Jax Game of the Week. Baker County hosts West Nassau, 7 o'clock kickoff coming up tonight on ESPN 690. We're back right after this.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. In baseball, the New York Yankees find themselves one game from elimination in the ALCS. They take on the Astros in a pivotal Game 5 tonight. Some good news for Sunday's game. We should finally see rookie tight end Josh Oliver get a little action, and the team signed Perry Nickerson, a cornerback, in his second year to help fill the void left by Jalen Ramsey. Here's defensive coordinator Todd Wash talking about moving forward without our former cornerback.
You know, we're going to have to change some things up and make sure that we're still putting our guys in position to make plays. It's the most important thing.
Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website VitaDeLouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to VitaDeLouis.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And you're home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations, or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany.
Here.
Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Where I'm from, marijuana is legal. Can I use it in Florida?
Nah, it's illegal here. 20 grams or less is a misdemeanor, and more than 20 grams is a felony.
Well, I have epilepsy. Should I try to get a medical marijuana prescription?
Now that's legal, but talk to your doctor first to see if it's a qualifying condition and if medical marijuana is even right for you.
I will, thanks.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Nolik and Wingo are coming to Jacksonville for the Florida-Georgia game.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo. I want to invite you to come watch us do our show live from Intuition Ale Works on Friday, November 1st. To register for your chance to win VIP passes, go to ESPN690.com.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah, no, he brings an intensity that, we love, and we love him for that. And he's, just the more he gets into it, the better he's doing. And it's a lot of fun to see him when he's out there really competing, leaning on guys.
Well, that is Gardner Minshew. Can he recapture the Minshew mania? He's talking about Cam Robinson, the left tackle of the Jaguars, who I think, is doing a pretty nice job overall. I mean, again, I said at the start of the year, Marquise Lee, Cam Robinson, you have got to give those guys a bit of time, and now we're 6 weeks in the year. Obviously, Marquise a little different. He's out again. But Cam Robinson, coming off the ACL, did not have a lot of reps in August in training camp. In fact, had 6 game reps, and that was it. They monitored him closely in the first week, and he's been getting back into it. And I think now he kind of can settle in a little bit. And I think he's doing that. It appears to me that he's doing that. The eyesore on that offensive line at times has been Andrew Norwell, which is ridiculous given what he's been paid. But that's been the eyesore. I think Jawan Taylor had a tough game last week against Cam Jordan, but that's expected. He's been going against good guys for the first 6 weeks of the year and actually has held up pretty well. overall. Right now, we're going to talk more Jaguars. Brent Martineau out here in Baker County. We've got our Action Sports Jax Game of the Week on ESPN 690. Got some chicken and rice cooking over there. Can't wait to get my hands on some of that. And West Nassau, Baker County will be our Game of the Week. But obviously the Jags with a big game on Sunday. And let's welcome in Demetrius Harvey right now from LockedOnJaguars.com. What's up, Demetrius? How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm good. It's a beautiful Friday. We got a football game in about 48 hours or so. The Jaguars have to win. Now, listen, if you don't know Demetrius Harvey very well, hopefully you follow him on Twitter and follow his work on LockedOnJaguars.com. You guys are doing a great job. There's so many folks now cover the Jags. I was thinking of this actually coming over and didn't have a chance. And I guess like the local historian would be Gene Fournette on this topic, most likely. But, you know, the Times Union used to have probably 4 or 5 guys covering the Jaguars from a print standpoint. But now if you look at all the people down there, Demetrius, there's a lot of folks, a lot of young guys like you. You know, a lot of TV, obviously. There's more radio stations that have ever been in town now covering the Jaguars. I mean, it's not New York. It's not L.A., like Jalen Ramsey will experience. But the crowd and the media in Jacksonville, that lunchroom's getting a little bigger, isn't it?
It really is. It's been fantastic to be able to be down at the stadium covering this team. There's a lot of young people, like you were saying. John Shipley with Jaguar Maven, he's down there. Ben Murphy's down there with First Coast News, I believe it is. There's just been a lot of changes, and I guess that's a good thing.
Demetrius Harvey with us from LockedOnJaguars.com. Give us your background a little bit, man. Where'd you come from? What's your story all about? How'd you get into doing what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so basically I was born and raised or not born, but I was raised in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, I grew up a big football fan, big NFL fan. You know, I followed the Jaguars for a long time. I started writing around high school time. I wrote for this site called JaguarsBlog.com, and I kind of lost the writing niche, I guess you would say, for a little bit. I went down to FAU for college, graduated there a couple years ago. Then eventually Zach Goodall, who used to run Locked On Jaguars, the podcast and the website, he DM'd me on Twitter and he asked, would I want to be, or would I be interested in writing about the Jaguars since I've done it in the past? I kind of have given my opinions on Twitter for a long time. So I was like, you know what, I guess I will be doing this. And ever since then, 2 years later, I've grown, I've gotten better and better and better. And, finally, I found my passion, and I think this is it.
Yeah, you guys are doing a good job with it. Demetrius Harvey from LockedOnJaguars.com. Like to introduce some of the newer folks covering the Jags, and like I said, there's a lot of them. At Demetrius82 on Twitter. That's Demetrius with an IUS at the end, Demetrius82. All right, man, let's talk Jags. You cover them all the time. In fact, I hope you don't miss me too much down in that locker room, but the Jags media time is awful. I hate it. I'm like a little bit depressed that I can't go down there more often, but it's right up against the radio. I want to talk to Doug Marrone about that. I don't know if I can pull any strings and change it, but I think they have handled this whole Ramsey thing pretty well. Their leadership, totally different than a year ago. I feel like they've been focused, and I almost expect them to respond in a big way Sunday, albeit against a really bad team. But if you think about when Ramsey requested the trade a month ago, that was on a short week going against Tennessee, who now has proven to be a pretty average football team, and the Jags responded nicely. I kind of expect the same thing Sunday. What's the temperature of this football team, do you think, going into this one?
Well, the Jaguars locker room has been outstanding, I would say, in terms of, casting aside distractions. I talked to Avery Jones probably about a week or two ago about, did you have to rein the team in, or did anybody have to rein the team in after the fallout with Jalen Ramsey and him requesting a trade? And he said there was no reining in at all. This team knows what they want to do. They love each other. They're a close-knit or a tight-knit locker room, and there was no distractions at all. And I think this is a credit to head coach Doug Marrone, really. He's gotten this team to buy in. Even though they're 2-4 right now, the team seems to believe, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. Demetrius Harvey with us talking some Jags. And, my pregame story, one of them this week when we go to Cincinnati on CBS 47, countdown to kickoff at 11:30 in the morning. One of them is on Doug Marrone. And I think Marrone, think about what he's had to handle. Marrone knows he's on the hot seat. This is it for him if they don't win, going all the way back to January. His Pro Bowl, not All-Pro, linebacker retires unexpectedly in the spring. His quarterback goes down 10 plays into the season. His best football player probably requests a trade after week 2 when they're 0-2, and now has been traded. I mean, that's all this guy has dealt with. I mean, now the whole team can say that. I said the same thing to Miles Jack yesterday. This is your first year wearing a captaincy, and here you go. I mean, this is what you walked into. Plus, he's got a lot of young guys back there. And on top of that, Miles didn't help himself because he got ejected in week 1 of a football game. So they've really dealt with a lot. And, the bottom line and all those things, Demetrius, if they don't start winning football games, it's hard to call these guys stars or heroes coming out of this mess of the first 6 weeks if they don't start winning quickly.
No, they have to. And especially this week, they have to beat the 0-6 Bengals. This is absolutely a must-win game. You could say every game is a must-win game, but this truly is. If they don't win here, it's really hard for them to continue to buy in and stay focused. And like you were saying, there were so many opportunities for this team to become distracted, losing their quarterback 10 snaps in, Miles Jack getting ejected, Jalen Ramsey requesting a trade, and on and on and on. And they still haven't. So I think this season has been a season of potential distractions, but so far they haven't let it affect them.
Demetrius Harvey with us. You can follow him at Demetrius82. Also, read all his stuff on LockedOnJaguars.com. Been doing a fantastic job and enjoy reading your work, Demetrius. All right, a couple of things you have been talking about and something you have coming out soon. I started the segment with Gardner Minshew on Cam Robinson. And if you take the left side of that line, CBS showed that graphic last week in the show where the Jaguars have not used the right side at all to run the football. And I think even John DeFilippo noted it was like, that is a crazy stat. Like, this does not seem intentional, at least from DeFilippo. But once you add up the running yards from the first 6 weeks of the season, the left side and the middle has been way better than the right side. And that actually surprises me a little bit because I thought Jawan Taylor would be better in the run part of the blocking than the pass blocking early in his career, and it might be the opposite so far.
Yeah, it is exactly the opposite so far. So CBS put up the graphic, and they have it going 291 yards to the left, 7.5 average. In the middle, they're going 204 yards with 5.1 average. And then on the right side, 17 yards and 1.1 average. I made a post on LockedOnJaguars.com about this, and for whatever reason, when they run to the right, I'm not sure if it's by design, but they're not doing the same types of runs to that side of the ball. And Jawan Taylor, like you said, he came out as a very high-profile run-blocking right tackle, and instead of using him in that capacity, it seems as though he's more of a pass blocker this year. And he's gone against some pretty impressive pass rushers so far this season, and he's done an okay job or a pretty good job for being a rookie. On the left side, you have Cam Robinson, who has come back from his torn ACL, like you were saying earlier, and he has been dominant. He's been a powerful force, and John DeFilippo has noted that earlier. He was saying how he's been physical, he's aggressive, he's pretty much the mean guy on the offensive line, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, and he's doing a pretty good job. Again, I think he's going to catch stride right about now. And in that second half of the year, I think Cam Robinson will play his best football. A couple other things to go a little deeper dive into the running that you're talking about, the left side, the center of that line, and then really nothing doing on the right side. And I think there's a couple of things to take in effect. And I also think you have to be careful of this. We mentioned yesterday with Austin on the show, and this is something that will go under the radar because nobody likes to talk about it and nobody really cares about it that much from like a statistical standpoint, or it's jumping off the TV when you're watching the game, and it certainly doesn't impact anybody's fantasy football team. But think about who they lost the last few weeks now. They lost Jeff Swaim and they lost Marquise Lee. And those two guys are critical to their blocking. Again, Marquise Lee, a lot of people think one of the best blocking receivers in the NFL. And I know it's not a sexy thing. I get it. I know it's not him streaking down the field and catching touchdown passes. Understood. Is he overpaid for that being one of his bigger roles? Maybe. Has he been hurt? All those things. That's fine. But the bottom line is, week in, week out, they rely on that. And they won't have that now this week. They won't have Jeff Swaim this week. They're not going to replace Swaim's blocking with Josh Oliver, that's for sure, because he's more of the pass-catching tight end. So just a couple of, hidden things to keep an eye on this week, and some of those things may have impacted, which side of the football they've been running on as well.
Oh, very much so. Marquise Lee has been amazing at run blocking. And the crazy thing about that is he's only 5'11". He's not really that tall. He's not that big of a guy, but he gets after it. He's aggressive. He knows what he needs to do. And I think another loss was James O'Shaughnessy. Now, he doesn't seem like a big, aggressive run blocker kind of guy. He seems more like a pass-catching guy. But when you watch him play, just the amount of push that he gets off the offensive line or onto the defensive line, and he just pushes the guys and pile drives them out of the way, and that opens up lanes for Leonard Fournette and any other running backs they have.
All right, Demetrius Harvey with us. Let's keep you for a couple more minutes. Doing a great job. LockedOnJaguars.com. Follow him at Demetrius82. You have a story coming out tomorrow on Will Richardson, his transition to the right guard, and this odd thing Marrone and the Jaguars have done, which is a rotation at right guard. I mean, it's unheard of. Nobody does that in the NFL unless you have to do it, but nobody does it. And in the first game this year, they actually went even splits with the right guard and also with Cam Robinson because he had not had a lot of reps in the preseason. Now Robinson's taken everything on the left side, but it's fascinating to watch them stay with this A.J. Cann, Will Richardson rotation. Give us a little preview of what to expect when your article drops tomorrow on LockedOnJaguars.com.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most unorthodox things I've seen in the NFL. I've never seen a team platoon a right guard position or any position along the offensive line. And I talked to Will Richardson about it, and just a little sneak peek into that. He kind of told me the transition has been fine, and he's been doing well at the right guard position over the last 4 weeks. And it's not so much as the consistency that messes him up with switching with A.J. Cann every 2 drives. It's more so, keeping himself warm. So at certain points during the game, A.J. Cann might be on the field for 2 drives, and then the Jaguars will go to halftime. So that means that Will Richardson hasn't been on the field for maybe 30, 45 minutes, an hour. It's really hard for an offensive lineman to stay warm at that point. So he does little squats on the sideline. He stays up. He walks around the sideline. And he's just been telling me that every other possession he'll go to AJ and he'll say, what have you seen? And then he'll tell him what he's seen. It's just an interesting dynamic that the Jaguars are using. And I guess it's been working. They really haven't had that much of an issue at that position.
Yeah, you haven't really heard about it, right? I mean, the other thing is Brandon Linder gets killed around here a lot. One, because he's got the big contract. 2, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. But knock on wood here. When's the last time you heard Linder's name mentioned in a football game? Hasn't been a while.
You really don't. He's been solid for them for the past however many years. I believe it's been 5 or 6, and you don't hear his name. And with an offensive lineman, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
He doesn't really get many holding calls. He doesn't really do anything to stand out except for do his job.
All right, man, let's wrap it up with you. Demetrius Harvey with us from LockedOnJaguars.com, doing a nice job. Good to have you on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. And what are your expectations? They win this game because they're just the better team. Does Minshew bounce back? I mean, what's your gut tell you? Because that's what happens now. You're covering this thing day to day. You're in the locker room, and everybody feels good about winning a football game Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But at the end of the day, you got to kind of have all right, how do I feel about this one? What's your gut tell you coming up Sunday against Cincinnati?
I just have to believe they're gonna win because the Bengals put out their injury report today. They're missing their starting left tackle, their starting right guard, their 2 starting corners, their best wide receiver. This is an 0-6 team they're going against. I have to believe that the Jaguars are hungry enough. They seem upbeat enough to be able to come out with a victory. I think Minshew is going to have a better day, much better day than he did against the Saints. He accepted full responsibility this week, as did offensive coordinator John DeFilippo. So I think this week is their get-right week against the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, Demetrius Harvey. Hey, man, doing a nice job. Keep up the good work, and thanks for jumping on for a few minutes.
I appreciate it.
All right, Demetrius Harvey checking in with us, and you can check him out at Demetrius82, LockedOnJaguars.com. Has some fun stuff coming up in the next couple of days. Really has done a nice job. It's kind of cool. Listen, I'm not like the old guy in town, but it's cool to see the young guys come up as well. That's a fun thing to watch. And Demetrius, John Shipley, those guys are doing a good job. I didn't hear the name of the other guy he was talking about. That's like on the competing TV station. But that's okay. We just won't bring it up again. Just kidding. All the young guys, good to see it happening. And now I'm getting into old guy territory, Coos. Is that what that means? Like we're like seeing all young guys around, like you, like 28-year-old guy.
Yeah, I think you're making the switch over.
I don't know when that happens. Like, when does that take place? Like, when do I have to feel old? I guess there's enough old guys in town still, like old guys, that, like, I still feel young.
Yeah, I think, like, once you look around, like, you know, when you're in the locker room post-game and you're looking around and you're like, I'm one of the older ones here, I think that's when it happens.
Yeah, and here's what I judge a little bit of it. As long as I can beat them in golf and maybe, like, a couple other things, then I feel like I'm not old yet. You know, like Ty's been beating me in golf occasionally. That makes me feel old. Like Kaylee's been hitting me in the shin when she pitches to me and I try to catch, and like my shin's all messed up. That makes me feel old. So as long as I can avoid some of that stuff, I guess we're doing okay. We're going to talk a little bit more Jags, obviously, coming up. And partly this defense that has to do a better job of getting turnovers. Would you believe they have one takeaway in 6 games? I mean, isn't that kind of disgusting, really? But it's not all their fault, in my opinion. Not all their fault. And sometimes that's a situational type thing for a defense, and they have not been put in great situations to be able to get turnovers all the time. Bottom line is that has to end some way, shape, or form if they want to win football games. But they, luckily, are not awful in the plus-minus category, as bad as it could be. They are in the minus part of it. They're in the red, but they have to do a better job. We'll talk about that in a bit. We also have some balling and falling. I have a baseball thought, and Houston Astros and what they've done and how every team would love to do it. It doesn't matter what sport you are. In fact, I genuinely believe the Jacksonville Jaguars tried to do it, and here we are a few years later. I think that part didn't work. It's coming up on ESPN 690. We're live at Baker County, our game of the week. West Nassau, Baker County, 7 o'clock kick. Hanging out with all these fine folks in Baker County. They're cooking. I'll go anywhere there's food. We'll talk more sports coming up next.
Golick and Wingo.
So now we're looking at the idea of Sam Darnold coming back for week 5.
You are literally staring down the barrel of 0-6, without question.
And you know who's really upset about that? The Miami Dolphins. They're like, whoa, what are you doing, man?
We're taking for
We had this plan. What are you guys doing? You spent money. You're not supposed to be with us, man.
The only good thing is the Jets have their quarterback, so they don't have to worry about that.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
What's up, Jacksonville? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. This weekend, we are celebrating by giving away up to $50,000 in cash. Play at either Best Bet location for the mini Bad Beat series, starting Friday at noon and running nonstop till Sunday at 11 p.m. If your table has Aces Full, Beaten, and Texas Hold'em or 7-card stud, you'll be splitting $10,000. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
This season, our team will have the best defense in the league. For your home, the best defense is a fence from Armstrong Fence Company. When it comes to home fences, Jacksonville owners trust Armstrong Fence Company. Visit Armstrong-Fence.com. That's Armstrong-Fence.com. Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
How many jewelry stores ask you to shop around? Beard's Diamonds wants you to see the selection and pricing other stores have to offer. Why? Here's Ben from Beard's Diamonds to tell you.
Because at Beard's, we are so confident in our diamond prices. So confident that no other store can touch Beard's prices. That we're willing to give you a $500 gift card if you find a GIA certified diamond for less anywhere in North Florida. Yes, you heard right, a $500 gift card. No need to second guess your purchase. Beard's Diamonds guarantees to make sure you get the absolute best price. Remember, Our prices can't and will not be beat on our huge selection of GIA certified diamonds.
Do yourself a favor and shop around. Make sure you're not second-guessing yourself, but always compare their price to Beard's Diamonds.
We will never be beat.
See the difference. Save thousands. Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
There's a lot of reasons for buying flowers for your wife or girlfriend. Birthdays, anniversaries, you're in trouble again. But those are all pretty cliche. How about you get her flowers because she fixed your favorite dinner, or just because you want to surprise her? No matter the occasion, or no occasion at all, check out Seawalk Custom Florals. They even deliver. Visit SeawalkCustomFlorals.com or call 904-554-0617. And don't forget about your mom either. Seawalk Custom Florals.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me and to serve my country.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
There are many paths to take to launch a successful small business. The first step is to start with a good roadmap, such as a business plan. If you need help putting one together, let one of the mentors at SCORE help. Since 1964, SCORE has been assisting aspiring and current entrepreneurs through a nationwide network of 10,000 volunteers with expertise in many different fields. In the Jacksonville area, our mentors can meet with clients at 6 different locations. If you want to schedule a free confidential appointment, go to jacksonville.score.org.
So your team scores. Suddenly you're best friends with perfect strangers. Tullamore Dew calls these friendships fanships. When the game is on, order a Tullamore Dew, the original triple-blended, smooth-sipping Irish whiskey for the person next to you. This game day, grab a Tully and strike up a fanship at...
Find Tullamore Dew in Jacksonville at Culhane Southside, Culhane's Atlantic Beach, and Lynch's.
When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, 2019, imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we can have and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. Auto accidents are tough enough, but can be downright scary if the other car leaves the scene before the police arrive. You may still be able to make a claim if there's available uninsured motorist coverage. Call us to help ease the fear and help you present your claim. Call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation. That's 904-600-4000.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all 3. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And you're home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations. Or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo here from Golic and Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jackson. It's clear Northeast Florida has great taste in radio. I mean, you're listening to me every morning, right? Join the ESPN 690 team and get your business notice today. The First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get your business in front of them. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
And this guy writes in, where was all this Masvidal love before his recent success? Real fans have had his back for a long time.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to ESPN 690.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The New Orleans Pelicans will start the new season without their number 1 overall pick, Zion Williamson. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports Williamson will be out a number of weeks with a sore right knee. He averaged 23 points a game in the preseason. After losing the first game of the ALCS, the Astros have now won 3 in a row. One more win puts them into the World Series. ESPN's Buster Olney says the Yankees' bullpen has turned out to be a weakness.
It feels like this Yankee series has really exposed, the potential weakness of having that kind of bullpen strategy, because if you wanted the runners in your relay team the baton, the whole thing can completely fall apart.
Buster Olney on the Baseball Tonight podcast. Game 5 tonight in New York. Lefty James Paxton for the Yankees matching up against Astros ace Justin Verlander. The Yankees will have Giancarlo Stanton back in the lineup tonight, 6 Eastern for our coverage on ESPN Radio. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes has a dislocated right kneecap, but no ligament damage.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year automatically, with no limit to how much they'll match. Millions of people a year are getting their cash back matched. Discover Cashback Match. What are you waiting for? Learn more at discover.com/cashbackmatch.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Still seeing new looks every week. It's only been 6 games so far. So each team presents new coverages, new challenges, different ways they're going to attack us, and different ways we're going to have to attack them. So it's just definitely learning each week, and I hope to learn every game I play from here to the end.
That's Gardner Minshew, and listen, there's going to be a learning curve for Gardner Minshew. Nobody wants to admit it. Everybody thought he was going to play lights out for every game, every week of the NFL season, and Nick Foles was never going to take a snap again, and obviously that's all been put on hold a little bit right now, and that's okay. I don't think that does not concern me at all. I kind of expected it. My concern with Gardner Minshew is, now does it end up being a bit of a rut? And for 2 or 3 weeks, and the Jags cannot afford that right now. He's done a fantastic job to give them a chance while Nick Foles has been out. I would have loved to see them 3-3. They're 2-4. That's still given a chance considering the next couple of football games the Jags have. But he can't stink it up for the next 2 weeks and cost them football games, because these teams are beatable, and he has to give them a chance to win, if not make winning plays. He has to settle back into that, okay, just don't mess it up. And if he makes plays, great. But don't turn the ball over. Don't fumble it away. Don't whatever. Name it. And I think, again, overall, you look at the first 6 weeks, he's done an amazing job. But he's got to be really careful, and this football team has to be really careful that you don't go into Cincinnati and give them life because you turned it over in a bad spot, all those things. So I don't expect them to, by the way. I'm just saying you have to be careful of that. That's reality. That's a young quarterback. It's a 6th-round pick, and now there's a little bit of a blueprint out there on maybe how to stop this Jaguars offense and especially make Gardner Minshew a little bit more uncomfortable in that pocket and keep him in that pocket. And I still think Austin's been bringing up a great point all week. We really don't know where the injury is. Is he toughing it out right now? I think absolutely. How much does he have to tough it out? Well, we have no idea. I mean, he's got a brace on his left knee, and he's got a groin injury. At least he did. Now, he wasn't limited in practice this week, so that's a good sign. So that's the assumption is he feels pretty good. But I think we just don't know that for sure. So huge week. Huge week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Huge week for Gardner Minshew, and we're going to talk more about it in just a couple minutes. I want to break from that for a bit, though, but it's somewhat tied in. I'm going to talk baseball. Don't tune out. Don't tune out. We're going to talk baseball, but how it ties in a little bit to the Jags and really everybody else, because it begins with a little ballin' and fallin', Coos, and the ballin' part is the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros now, they're balling for a couple of reasons for me. A little selfish here, but the Yankees are on the brink. So 3-1, go Astros. Awesome. Love it. Great win last night. Hopefully they wrap it up tonight in game number 5. But they're balling bigger than that, because when the Astros stunk, and I've said this before, but if you haven't heard it, follow me. the Astros stunk in like 2011 and 12 and 13, right around that time frame. They lost like 111 games and 112 games. I mean, they were brutal. Think the Baltimore Orioles, the Detroit Tigers. That's what the Astros were. Well, then they started compiling those top picks. And in baseball, you don't really think of it like that. But they hit on those top picks, the Alex Bregmans, the Carlos Correas, those kind of guys. They found a guy like Jose Altuve, right? Those players, they built this nucleus of young guys that nobody really knew about, nobody heard about. But all of a sudden, they started to flip the script, play a little pretty good baseball. In fact, I forget what year it is, but I think it was like in 2014. They actually had a nice year, and maybe they were ahead of schedule, and then they kind of came back to earth a little bit in 15, if I'm not mistaken. I might have my years off by one. And then, of course, the World Series in 2017, right? That's how this ended for the Houston Astros and the build. But it didn't stop. That's the point, right? It did not stop with the Astros winning that 2017 World Series. Ever since then, they've been like the most feared team in baseball. And what did they do on top of that nucleus? Well, they added guys like Verlander. That was a huge midseason move a couple years ago, and he's been tremendous. And they add a guy like Garrett Cole. He's been unbelievable. I mean, what this guy's doing is it kind of reminds you of like Pedro Martinez in the late 90s, Bob Gibson in the 60s. I mean, that's what this guy's doing right now. Kershaw at times, but Kershaw, remember, couldn't get it done and still can't get it done seemingly in the postseason. And they've even added a guy like Greinke to their staff. I mean, if you think about the way their roster is built in Houston, it's unbelievable. It has no weaknesses, very few weaknesses. Their bullpen, I still think, is okay. It's not. Osuna's a good closer, and they took a risk on Osuna, remember, because he had like some off-the-field stuff, and it was a little bit of a gamble. It was actually a little bit of controversy when they signed him. I believe that was last year. But the way they've built that baseball team, they have very few weaknesses. They can do everything. Watching the game the other night, not last night, but the other night, they run the bases well. Nobody runs the bases well in baseball anymore. Nobody. So they can hit for power. They can pitch it. They can field it. They can run. They can do everything. It's just, it's in my opinion, it's the envy of probably every sports franchise that we know, how you can build that roster. So much so that, and again, there's a heavy use of analytics, too, now involved. And I think A.J. Hinch has done a fantastic job as their manager, even though listen, I think I could win some baseball games being the manager of the Astros. They're that talented. But they've done a nice job of mixing that, the analytics, and they were ahead of the curve on the analytics. So much so, I think the St. Louis Cardinals tried to steal their analytics a few years back and got in trouble for that. But I think everybody is the envy, and it's been proven that because look what, say, the Atlanta Braves did. The Atlanta Braves ripped it down, were terrible for a few years, and they tried to do the same thing. And by the way, they might be onto something. You know, the Braves, you're a Braves fan. I think you feel pretty good about the future. Are they as stacked and loaded and complete as maybe this Astros team looks? Well, maybe not, but the Astros didn't look that complete a handful of years ago either. They added to it. They made the right moves. I think right now you see the Baltimore Orioles are doing this. I think you see the Detroit Tigers are trying to do this. And I think we've seen a little bit the Miami Marlins under Derek Jeter trying to do this. It's kind of the new wave in baseball because the Astros have been that blueprint. A little bit different than, say, how like Oakland has built their team. Oakland has done the Moneyball thing, and they've just been fantastic in the front office. The Rays have been unbelievable, but they do it with a low budget. So it's a little different situation than the way Houston has handled it. But it's not just baseball. See, I always liken what the Astros did and have done to what the Jaguars tried to do. And I've said this for years now, if you've been listening. The Jags back in 2013 under Gus Bradley were one of the historically worst teams ever. Go back and look at that 0-8 start. If you need a little bit of history and recent history on the Jags, go back and look at 2013, those first 8 games. They were historically bad. They had the worst roster maybe ever assembled in the NFL. I mean, it was brutal. Really not a lot of players. In fact, Gus did a great job just to get them 4 out of 5 wins in the second half that year. That was the most astonishing thing, that they were able to do that. I remember even saying, now this is me, and I know some of you people out there will be like, of course, because you love Gus Bradley. Yeah, I get it. But I remember saying in 2013 when they'd won 4 out of 5, if he wins a couple more games, he should actually be up for Coach of the Year with that roster, what they were able to do. It didn't work out for Gus. But in 2013, 14, They were bad, so bad. Now, they had better talent in 15 and 16, and Gus didn't win, and that's why Gus was out of here. But in 2017, you saw a lot of that talent that they thought they had, and that included Blake Bortles. So it might have been a little misleading. But the bottom line is that talent that they had built, that they had assembled, they had put it all together to make a run. And they did make a run, made a run into the AFC Championship game. But this is where it differs so much from what the Astros are now doing. The Jaguars hit in 2017 with their core of draft picks and some good players, Yannick Ngakoue, Telvin Smith, and I would put Fournette and Bortles in those conversations, even the Linders of the world in those conversations at that time. They played well enough to go to the AFC Championship game. But they also mixed it up with some free agents, Tayshaun Gibson and Calais Campbell, Marcel Darius on a trade. So they did the right things, and that's what the Astros have done. Name me a move the Astros have made that's been bad. Well, in 2017, it looked like the Jags had made a ton of great moves. And so the idea was to not only win then, but win for a long time. That's why you stunk early, 2013 and 14 under Dave Caldwell, to win long term. It's worked for Houston. It obviously has not worked for a team like Jacksonville. One, because they weren't right on the quarterback. And two, they've had other things go wrong. I mean, look at their football team now. Telvin Smith, not playing. He was a Pro Bowler. He was a drafted guy. He was one of those core guys. He was a captain. Jalen Ramsey, enough said, right? What's gone on with Jalen. And you couldn't keep Tayshaun Gibson this year, in part because of some of the hefty salaries that you had. You didn't keep Allen Robinson, who was part of that early on. Even though he wasn't part of 2017, I kind of put him in that young player, part of the core that you drafted and wanted to continue this. So if you add up all those things, the Jaguars were trying to do what the Houston Astros did. And they did it in 2017 to a degree. They just didn't win the whole thing. But they kind of got on the doorstep like it was about to happen, and then, 2018 was a disaster. And even in the first month of 2018, it looked like, hey, this really is working. Sustained winning after losing for a couple of years in miserable fashion. And now you see the Miami Dolphins trying to do it, I think. You might be seeing the Cincinnati Bengals try to do it as well as they flip their roster and potentially could trade away some pieces and move on from the quarterback. So my point is the Houston Astros are the envy of just about every organization in sports. NBA, NHL, NFL, baseball, Major League Baseball. It's worked in baseball. I think people are trying to figure out how you make that whole transition faster in football. Because overnight in football, you can win and you can get better and quicker. And you can make the playoffs after missing the playoffs. You can go worst to first easier in the NFL. It's been proven. And you can also go first to worst, as kind of the Jaguars, not necessarily worst, but have kind of proven itself out in the last couple of years. So it's really fascinating, and I use Houston as that measuring stick to all of this. I think San Francisco actually tried to do what the Jags did in 13 and 14, but they also said, hey, how do we do that a little faster? Well, one of the ways you go get a quarterback you think you like, and you piece this thing together. Look at their defensive front. You hit maybe on the head coach and maybe on the quarterback, and maybe those are a couple of things the Jaguars didn't do if you look back on 2013 and 14 when they were going this. They fired the head coach, and they've gotten rid of the quarterback. So I just feel like they're a fascinating watch, Houston. They're a fun baseball team, too. It's hard not to like the Astros, I believe. And they're so good if you like baseball. But if you like sports in general and your team and how it's built, look no further than the Houston Astros. That is the way to go if you can do it. You have to hit on early draft picks. You have to hit on free agency. You have to hit on the most important position on the field. Maybe for the Astros it's been pitching. Maybe in the NFL it's the quarterback, right? And then you also have to have the right mix of coach and players. A.J. Hinch and the Astros done a fantastic job. Jaguars had to reset. Maybe the San Francisco 49ers are on the verge of doing this. And maybe Shanahan and Garoppolo and that mix of talent that they have is right where they need it to be. So I find it incredibly fascinating on that front. So I thought the Houston Astros were a good chance to talk about something like that. That doesn't mean they win the World Series this year. It's baseball. It's sports. And the Nationals are tough. And the Nationals have kind of built things a little bit differently in that regard. Heck, they just got rid of a star player to make it to the World Series. But the Astros continue to be, to me, maybe the premier organization in sports outside of like the New England Patriots. And the Patriots are just so different than anybody because of Belichick and Brady and in the sport of NFL, in the NFL. But I think a lot of people do envy the Houston Astros. Hey, Kuz, before we get out of here, I want to do, well, there's two fallens, really. But a quick one, I want your thought. Zion Williamson, man, he's out for a few weeks. You talk about the NBA taking a hit. We just talked about it yesterday with the China stuff, and now this guy that everybody can't wait to see, and it's a long season, so it's okay, but now we're not going to be able to see Zion Williamson. Hope you watched him in the preseason, Coos.
Oh, and in the preseason, he looked really good, too. But, yeah, it kind of stinks. Although, back to what you were saying with the Houston Astros and all that stuff, I mean, the Sixers kind of did the exact same thing just to give a basketball side of it.
Very good call. They did that. But what have they not done?
They haven't won yet. They're close. They're close, and I'd like to see them win. But, yes.
But if you're going to do it, you got to win big.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Braves eventually will have to win big. The Jags weren't able to win big enough. Mm-hmm. And I think right now the Sixers are in the same boat, although it still could be climbing with the young talent they have. Again, before we go to break, part of my fallen, I wanted to mention Zion Williamson. And I don't even like to put it in this context, but it's unfortunate for CeCe Sabathia. This has nothing to do with me as a Yankee hater and a Red Sox fan. CeCe Sabathia is one of the most well-respected guys on the planet when it comes to baseball. And so much so, he leaves the game yesterday being hurt, probably his last game in pinstripes. Who knows? Could be his last game ever, right? And he has an injury, and he has to walk off the field. That stinks, because this guy should get a standing ovation coming off the field, and for the right reasons, not because of injury. So I feel for CeCe Sabathia, a long time with Cleveland, long time with the Yankees. And, even though I hate the Yankees, they've had so many players over the years that you respect. And I think CeCe Sabathia fits that so much so. Listen to what Joe Girardi, his former manager, said on the MLB Network about CeCe Sabathia.
That was not the way I wanted to see it end for him. CeCe, you're a Hall of Fame pitcher that was as tough as any man I was ever around, what you went through on a daily basis to just be able to get on the mound. You were a great husband. You were a great father. You were probably the greatest teammate I've ever been around because of your ability to pull all 25 and sometimes all 50 people together in a clubhouse. And you were the guy that I always wanted on the mound when we needed a win. And it was a privilege for me to manage you for 9 years. I love you, man.
How about that, Listen, I ain't crying because of Yankees, but that is some powerful stuff from Joe Girardi. Listen, Joe Girardi, tough baseball guy, tough guy, tough sports guy, catcher. To bring him to those emotions, that tells me a little bit about CeCe Sabathia. So hat tip to CeCe Sabathia, the way he held himself, and we don't celebrate guys like that enough, even if they do wear the pinstripes. We'll see what happens in Game 5 of the ALCS a little bit later tonight. All right, we get back to some football talk when we come back. That's what we like to do. How about the college game? I got a question for you when it comes to Florida and Florida State tomorrow. I'll ask it when we come back. You're always welcome to jump in, by the way. Star 690 on college game, Jaguars, high school, whatever you want to talk about. We're here for you. Brent Martineau from Baker County. Austin Lane will join us in a little bit. He's out at Murray State. They have a reunion weekend for his football team. And Coos is hanging out with us as well on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're heading into the weekend in style and have a good one. We certainly will here at Baker County against West Nassau in our Game of the Week on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mild temperatures again today with increasing and thickening clouds. A shower possible by late afternoon and highs in the mid to upper 70s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond. Luxury begins at the door of Atlantic Infinity with your concierge, no-pressure customer experience.
Only one Atlantic Infinity.
Experience the wave of luxury in person at 10980 Atlantic Boulevard or at atlanticinfinity.com.
Hey, boss. How's it going?
Don't even talk to me.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you're having a moment.
It's not a moment. It's just been one of those days.
Boss, what happened?
So I'm driving around doing errands and stuff. I counted 14 Safe Touch security signs while I was out. 14!
Well, I guess word's out that Safe Touch is the best.
I mean, there's Safe Touch signs in yards, Safe Touch stickers on drive-through windows, Safe Touch on billboards, Safe Touch on the radio. I'm about to lose my mind.
Boss, it's okay. There's still plenty of houses out there without Safe Touch.
Yeah, but the more people hear about the two-way communicator, the guaranteed response time, the crash and smash.
What do kids say these days? Safe Touch is going viral. Kind of funny when you think about it.
Oh, I hate Safe Touch.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Pros know there's a lot more to a tile job than tile. But here's something even pros don't know. The Home Depot's just lowered prices on tile essentials. Everything from James Hardie backer board as low as $8.98 each to 50-pound bags of VersaBond mortar starting at only $11.68. And know this, we won't be beaten on flooring prices, guaranteed. New lower prices on tile essentials for the pro, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Prices valid in select markets only.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Anyone can get on the radio these days and say whatever they want. But how many people back up what they say? Beard's Diamonds does. Here's Ben, the second generation of jewelers at Beard's.
I grew up here. My dad started this business 38 years ago, and we are constantly working to benefit the customer. Not only with the best prices, largest selection, highest quality jewelry and service, but also a price protection unlike any other store offers. We know how good our diamond prices are, and we're so confident they can't be beat. But we want to make sure that you know. That's why Beard's Diamonds is offering you a $500 gift card if you can find any GIA certified diamond for less, anywhere in North Florida. Yes, a $500 gift card. Anyone could say they have the best price, but Beard's Diamonds absolutely proves it and has been for 38 years. But don't just take our word for it. Shop around and compare. You'll see Beard's Diamonds will not be beat.
Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center and at beardsdiamonds.com.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Hey, Maurice Jones-Drew, how many times did you ask for a trade while you were a player?
I asked one time. I think it was when I was holding out. Kind of was like, hey, if this is the way you feel about me, maybe we can work something where I can go somewhere else.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey everyone, Jawan Taylor here, University of Florida, and you're watching Action Sports Jax. Go Gators.
I'm concentrating on the players out of here and getting our guys, focused on Cincinnati. I respect everyone that's in that locker room and the way they handle a lot of their things. I think it's difficult, especially when a player is injured, and they're doing everything they can to get back. So I have no issues.
Hey, the Jaguars injury report doesn't look bad. We don't have to wonder if Jalen Ramsey will play in the football game. That's a Rams problem now. And, by the way, he will play in that football game. I'm pretty convinced of it. I think everybody else is too. And that goes to the conversation we've had for the last couple of days. And, by the way, do I get like an attaboy pat on the back or maybe just our ratings are down, Coos? But a lot of people said, stop talking about Ramsey. Well, that's like the first time I've mentioned Jalen Ramsey's name in an hour and a half of the show. So I think that's something for you folks. And I'm really not talking much about Ramsey, although I will play in just a little bit the thoughts from Miles Jack and Calais Campbell on Jaguars All Access last night on the Ramsey front. So I thought it was interesting with those guys. We'll have that conversation from last night's show at Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. And a friendly reminder, come on out to Mellow Mushroom in Avondale every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. We'll have Jaguars All Access. Calais Campbell joins us. And also Mondays, Top Golf. Hopefully we're talking about a Jags win this coming month. Chris Conley's been our guest a bunch, not every week, but a lot of the times, and he's awesome. It's fun to be out there at Top Golf, so you can do that. 7 o'clock every Monday. We'll be talking Jags. You're invited. And you can also watch it on CBS 47. I do want to give a shout-out to the folks here in Baker County. As they say, there will probably be about 100 or 125 people gathered as we get closer to kickoff tonight, 7 o'clock kick. Chicken and rice, all the good stuff. We've got 3 coolers of stuff as well. And let's see if I remember everybody's name. See, that's Jackie over there, Jackie Baker. And see, he owns the town. That's why his last name's Baker. Kelly and Shannon and Freddie as well, and they're doing all the cooking. So we appreciate them playing host to us, and it's a good spot to hang. The stadium is right off to my left, just across the street. This place will be rocking for West Nassau, Baker County coming up tonight. All right, I put a question out there, and it might be a little bit too easy, and I get it, but I was trying to think of a way to word it right, and I think there is some – I think they'll be a little bit concerned tomorrow for Gator fans. Gators are coming off a loss, so that always gets your attention. They have to win, setting up a game against the Georgia Bulldogs in a few weeks here in Jacksonville. They have to win. It just feels like you got to get on track coming into that game, have the bye week, and be in a perfect position. And Georgia's got to win, right? They're playing Kentucky. They'll win that football game, although I said that last week against South Carolina. But the problem here for Florida is you've got a South Carolina team. Now, what are they? Like, who are they? Somehow found a way to win that game against Georgia between the hedges on the road. And nobody thought that could happen. It's the upset of college football right now. And now what South Carolina team's going to show, on top of that, the Gators play at noon, which every college football fan, coach, player, whatever is like, uh-oh, it's a noontime start. So I think where this one goes will be interesting for the Florida Gators. So I pose this question. Florida wins or Florida State loses at Wake Forest, a 5-1 Wake Forest team. What's more likely to happen tomorrow? And I think most people will answer Florida. I'm just not sure that's the right answer. Or not. But it's not a gimme game is my point for the Florida Gators here against South Carolina. A lot could happen. They could go in there to Columbia and really roll the Gamecocks because I think Mullen always has his guys ready to play, and it seems that way, and he finds ways to win. But I do think they have to be a bit careful tomorrow. They played a good football game and lost in Baton Rouge. You empty the tank against a team like LSU. You come back, a night game in Baton Rouge, noon game at South Carolina. I mean, you couldn't get more polar opposites of that. Nighttime in Baton Rouge, noontime in Columbia, South Carolina. And so I think they really have to be on the lookout. And I'll be impressed if they just go out there and take business the way they should, the way Georgia was unable to do so last week against South Carolina, and that one was at home. As for Florida State, obviously the talk continues. Here's the one thing I've said about Florida State, and I like about Florida State in this respect. I still feel like they've been able to score some points. And, yeah, Clemson, not so much. But overall, they've been able to score 30-plus. Well, Wake Forest just gave up 62 points last week. So the offense of the Florida State Seminoles should be able to get going. Can their defense get the job done? It's a 1-point favorite for Wake Forest. We'll pick this game a little bit later on, but this is a huge game for Florida State, and I don't think anybody should hide away from that. It's a huge game, once again, you feel like, for Willie Taggart. But if you look at the next month of football games, now that Clemson's out of the way, FSU has games where, because of their situation and how they sit and how they feel and what they are, quite frankly, which is a pretty average football team, they could win the next 4. They could lose any of the next 4. I don't think they'll lose all 4 of them, but I'm also not convinced they'll win all 4 of them. And that will be one to watch tomorrow night at Wake Forest. Meanwhile, we welcome in Marcel Robinson. You came at a perfect time, Marcel Robinson, you Georgia Bulldog fan. Kentucky will not be a problem, tell me, right? I need 2 one-loss teams in Jacksonville in a few weeks.
I mean, I don't think they should be a problem, but if there's one thing I know about Georgia football, that 2 things. One, they always play down to the level of their competition, which means that they are very unpredictable when it comes to playing teams and beating teams that they should beat.
Yeah, but isn't that everybody? Like, see, here's the deal. I think Kirby, you run into that naturally, right? And there's so many games that you do have to get up for in the SEC. And I think Kirby's done a better job. Like Mark Richt over the years, right? Wasn't that the kind of the knock against Mark Richt?
Yes, he could never get the big game. Yes.
They would hit this. They would play terrible against a team they should just crush.
Right.
Well, Kirby, I don't feel like has had that as much. I think Kirby's been. Oh, look how many games they've won. Kirby's been able to take care of business. This is really like the first time. Am I missing a game where they're like, you were supposed to win that and you didn't? Isn't this like the first time under Kirby in the last 3 years? Maybe not the first year when they went like 7-5, but the last 3 years, I feel like this is the first time Kirby Smart has lost a game like this.
Yeah, the South Carolina game is probably the first time that's happened, but there have been games previously where it kind of trended that way to it looked like they may have, be struggling. I mean, obviously it looked early on versus Tennessee that might have been the game, and then they kind of got their wits about them and got rolling. But the South Carolina game, obviously, same kind of story as the beginning of the Tennessee game. And then it's one of those things I was talking about with someone a couple of days ago is that, Jake Fromm just happened to have a bad game. When they talked to him, he said it was kind of one of those things where you just feel like you just don't have it, and that was that kind of day. The problem is in college football, you can't have a bad day.
Not that bad a day.
Right, yeah. I mean, if just looking at some of the throws that he was making, now granted, one of those picks wasn't his fault off the hands of the tight end Tyler Simmons, but the pick 6 in the second quarter, I mean, that's a throw, an outside out route. That's a throw that I don't think he would make 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and you can't fumble the football in the first snap of the fourth quarter, down. Right? So, he didn't play well. I mean, that's got to be his worst game as a dog, right?
That is the worst game I have ever seen him play. And I was casually watching it as I was shooting the Reigns-Ribault game. So, yeah. Pretty bad.
And it's funny, man, because with Jacob Eason playing out at Washington, and I think that's kind of a quiet story because they're out west, but with the way Fields is playing at Ohio State, I think people jumped on right away, and they're like, wow, look at the quarterbacks they could have had. And please don't go there. Jake Fromm has been tremendous, I think, for Georgia. And I know he's not like a style points kind of guy, right? I mean, there's way more stake to Fromm than there is sizzle. Absolutely. He's not – you don't put him in the Heisman trophy conversation, but it's just not the way they're built. In a way, Alabama of yesteryear, and I mean before Tua, before they really went to the spread, and maybe some of that with Jalen Hurts, that's what they would do, right? In the first half, you'd be like, or early in the third quarter, you'd be like, oh, this might be the game. Oh, someone's going to get him. Mississippi State might get him, or South Carolina might get him, or somebody's going to get him, and this is the game. Saban's team's sleepwalking. At the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, they just roll people. That's the way Georgia's built.
Yep.
That's the way they've been up until the other day. That's what was alarming is Georgia wasn't able to take over that fourth quarter, mainly because Fromm had a couple of those turnovers. One more thought on Georgia here. And see, because you're allowed a mulligan, you remember, was it last year or 2 years ago they lost to Auburn?
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So 2 years ago they lose to Auburn. They got crushed by Auburn. They're like, whoa. Uh-oh. Well, no. What it does is it resets you. It wakes you up. And that woke them up. They, in my opinion, should have won the national championship that year.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
No. But that brings us to this one. You shouldn't lose to South Carolina. Absolutely not. But now, all of a sudden, I think it was worse off for the Florida Gators in a couple of weeks and probably for Kentucky tomorrow that Georgia lost because you can't sneak up. You can't catch them napping. You can't catch them thinking they're great because Kirby Smart has been in their shorts all week telling them, you guys are awful, right? And so doesn't this if you want to take the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville in a few weeks, that alone, I think this one really kind of hurt Florida and probably helps Georgia. If I'm a dog fan, I kind of wonder, I'm like, all right, are we as good as we think we are? But I also know we'll definitely be ready. We're not sleepwalking going into that game. And I know that sounds impossible in Jacksonville, but we've seen it happen before. If you think you're better than another team, you can do that. And that's when upsets happen, especially in rivalry games. So I think this actually wakes the dogs up, at least for the time being.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And it's kind of it's almost similar to 2018 when they went to Baton Rouge and lost to LSU, and they basically, the mindset was, hey, look, if we want to get to where we want to get, we have to win out. Now, granted, unfortunately, they lost that game to Alabama in the SEC championship game, which we all know about. But at the same time, I think losing to South Carolina, it kind of allows them to play not necessarily loose, but it does kind of wake them up. It's a different mindset. Obviously, if they beat South Carolina, they have that thought in the back of their mind saying, hey, look, we can technically kind of, if we fall somewhere, we still have a chance. But now, just like you said a second ago, if they lose another game, I mean, the season is essentially over, and they approach every game after that like they did the Sugar Bowl versus Texas.
Yeah, good point. Marcel Robinson with us. Brent Martineau hanging out at Baker County. Talked a little college football, and I think this will benefit Georgia at the end of the day. Kirby Smart's been able to rally those guys after losses. We'll see how they do tomorrow against Kentucky, and, of course, in a couple weeks here in Jacksonville for the Florida-Georgia game. Not too far away now. Hopefully we get like a weather day like today, which would be just gorgeous. Also, a couple other notes. Miami is playing Georgia Tech. They should have no problem. Yeah, there's a lot to like about Miami, especially now that they beat Virginia. That was a good win. I shouldn't say a lot to like. There's a little bit to like, and I still think Manny Diaz is going to be the right guy for that job. They've had to take a little bit of a hit here or there, but I like Manny Diaz down at Miami. And UCF gets East Carolina. They're like 30-point favorites. Nobody's talking about UCF anymore, Marcel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the train is over. I think the bounce house is losing a little bit of bounce.
Yeah, which is too bad. I don't think people should do. Now, hopefully down there, I don't know what the pulse is in Orlando. I know there's some disappointment over a couple losses, but I don't think you should lose that momentum. They worked way too hard to build that momentum. So hopefully on campus, on these home games, they find themselves a little bit more, get people excited because there's still a lot to do. That doesn't stop, in my opinion. That doesn't. I know for the rest of the country, it stopped with that loss to Pitt. It didn't for me. I think this is for Danny White and for Josh Heupel and for everybody else. For UCF, that's part of this. It's still a long-term build thing, where you're going to end up eventually, how much you can be in the conversation year after year, and sometimes you won't be in that conversation, but you got to get right back into it. So hopefully that momentum, at least tight-knit, at least on campus and in their football stadium for home games, hasn't really left them as much as maybe it feels like from the outside. Hey, we're going to take a break here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We'll certainly get back to some Jags talk. We also have some high school football talk and a Coach of the Week that Jalen Ramsey didn't allow us to do. See, I blame everything on Ramsey. Anything that we didn't do this week, it's all Jalen Ramsey's fault. Put on number 20.
Yeah, I agree with you. My daughter asked me why she couldn't have pancakes this morning. I told her it's because Jalen Ramsey went to the West Coast.
That's awesome. No pancakes this morning because it was Ramsey's fault.
Hashtag blame Ramsey.
Blame Ramsey. Don't blame us. More from Baker County. Fun place to be on a Friday. High school football in mid-October. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. In baseball, the New York Yankees find themselves one game from elimination in the ALCS. They take on the Astros in a pivotal Game 5 tonight. Some good news for Sunday's game. We should finally see rookie tight end Josh Oliver get a little action, and the team signed Perry Nickerson, a cornerback, in his second year to help fill the void left by Jalen Ramsey. Here's defensive coordinator Todd Wash talking about moving forward without our former cornerback.
We're going to have to change some things up and make sure that we're still putting our guys in position to make plays. It's the most important thing.
Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander, it's not $35,000. Now it's only $24,688. Yeah, $24,688 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. How about a Toyota RAV4? It's not $29,865. No way. It's just $21,888. $21,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
At Action News Jax, we're here or severe. When storms threaten, put your trust in the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, rated the most accurate for the last 13 years.
The First Alert Weather Team is the only team of certified meteorologists in the Jacksonville area. That means we have the most schooling and training to forecast and predict severe weather, and that experience will keep you safe from a storm.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations. Or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza. Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jax. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackscwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
For hungry families, for those facing depression, for nearly anyone in need, we're here. We're Jewish Family and Community Services, supporting people of every age, race, and religion. Jewish Family and Community Services. Learn more at hereforjax.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website VitaDeLouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to VitaDeLouis.com.
In an ocean of car dealers, there's only one, Atlantic Infinity. The all-new 2020 Infinities are coming in, most loaded with luxury and convenience that will delight and amaze you. With Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, delivering exceptional touchscreen command of your email, texts, music, and maps. Now at the one and only Atlantic Infinity's new showroom. Call for a test drive, 642-0200. Atlantic Infinity, 10980 Atlantic Boulevard. Follow the wave.
Hey, boss.
What?
You think it's okay to get out of here yet?
No, the cops may be still patrolling around out there. Give it another 10 minutes.
Okay. Boss?
What?
You still mad at me?
Well, let's assess our situation. situation, shall we? Here we are hiding out from the cops in this storm pipe because you neglected to determine that the house we came up on had safe touch security. Is my assessment correct?
Yeah, but I swear they didn't have Safe Touch last week.
I don't want to hear about it, Corn Pop. We didn't even get to the front door before the Safe Touch video monitoring kicked in. Now here we are, crouching in this stinking ditch.
Sorry, boss.
Just so I know you know, tell me the Crooks R Us motto again.
Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
At least you got that right.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
Gulick and Wingo.
I don't know if I've ever felt worse for a kid in the league than Josh Rosen, It's like deja vu for him. He's going through this all again. We may never know what Josh Rosen could or could not have been because of the two situations he's found himself.
Gulick and Wingo. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Hi, I'm Danny Warfel, 1996 Heisman winner, and you're watching Action Sports Jax.
I think in this league, nothing ever really surprises me anymore, especially from the business side of things. I found out kind of like everybody else did last night, late last night. Dave came in and told me.
Doug Marrone earlier in the week talking about Jalen Ramsey. Guess who's going to play Sunday for the LA Rams? Yeah, Jalen Ramsey practiced full today for the Rams and is expected to play on Sunday. Here's the deal. If I'm a player for the Jaguars, I can like Jalen Ramsey. I can like the player empowerment stuff. I can respect the hell out of his game. I can't respect this. I have such a problem with this. I'm telling you, hey, Marcel Robinson, you're back there. If you called in sick or didn't want to play even though you had the sniffles for 3 weeks, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Honestly, I wouldn't blame you.
It's just I couldn't do that. I'm saying that's me, and that might be petty on me and not understanding the business and not understanding the whole concept of it, but I just don't know if I could do it. I don't know how people in that building, and especially the locker room, because who cares about the people in the building necessarily? And I do, but I'm saying Jalen shouldn't. But the teammates, the coaches, those people, I don't know how he could text one of his teammates today or whatever and be like, hey, hope you're doing well, good luck. I'd be the middle finger emoji right back at him, man. And I don't know how I wouldn't. I just don't know how they do that with this part of it. I get the business. It is a business. But to tell people you can't play for a couple of weeks, especially this last Sunday, and you had already told everybody and said you were going to play for your teammates and as long as you could and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, miraculously, everything's good in L.A. and you're going to play against Julio Jones on Sunday in the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know. It's a tough one to swallow. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on that one. Now, granted, I think a lot of that might be kind of like a save face kind of thing in terms of when we ask the players hey, how do you manage to still be cordial with this guy. He essentially said he's not playing with you because of what he's going through with the front office. Supposedly what's in between the lines is supposed to be, the brotherhood, fraternity, and everything. And I get that, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I think it's just some of those cats are a different breed. Like, I know for me personally, if I was anyone in that locker room, there's no way in the world I'm answering his phone calls, text, or whatever. But I mean, those guys are different. And like when we went in, what was that, Wednesday maybe, I guess, Marcel Darius making the joke about not being able to talk because his back was bothering him. I think a lot of guys in there have that kind of mindset where they are really not okay with what he did. But I think it's just one of those things where they're just not saying it, sort of. But behind the scenes and behind closed doors, I can't imagine that they're okay with what he did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I listen, we're going to hear from some folks, Miles Jack, Calais Campbell on the Jalen Ramsey front. And since I was going to save this topic at the top of the hour, so, hey, Kuz, just a little audible here, but get the sound ready for from Miles and Calais from last night on Jaguars All Access when it comes to the Jalen Ramsey front. I think I talked about it yesterday, that Leonard Fournette, I think, had at least showed a little bit of emotion when he talked about him yesterday. Everybody else has been so down the middle.
Right.
But I just don't understand how you can't be either pissed off at the organization for trading away a guy that will help you win football games, and he's probably your best football player, or pissed off at Jalen Ramsey for pulling all this at this point of the season, what everybody's gone through the last month. Like, you have to be one or the other. And and not even maybe your level of how mad you are might vary, but you have to have an emotion one way or the other. There's no way you're down the middle on this, and I applaud them for not showing it. And I thought even Fournette, who at least hinted toward, listen, this guy's done a lot. This defense is different with him, and he kind of said something, I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, it's too bad they had to let him go or something. So he kind of put it on the organization in a nice way. And that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, you should feel that way. Or you should feel like this guy quit on us. And he stood up there in front of a microphone and had this bizarre press conference a month ago and said, I'm not going to quit on my teammates as long as I'm here in Jacksonville. And he quit on them. So, again, I've reserved a lot of that kind of judgment on Jalen for the last few weeks because, one, I respect the heck out of those guys' ability to play a violent game, and there's no way I can sit here and question how tough somebody is. Two, Doug Marrone continually defended Jalen Ramsey in terms of trying to get back. He's a tough guy. All those things. Said all the right things for Jalen Ramsey, partly, I believe, because he was trying to mend that fence of the front office and the relationship between Ramsey and the front office because he needs him to play. He wanted him to play because he's a great football player. So based on those two things, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be the guy that just automatically says this guy's faking it or he's ready to go but he can't play. I know a lot of people can do that, and I know when I put it out there, people are like, well, what do you mean, you moron? I mean, of course we knew this is what it was. Yeah, I get it, but I think it's also irresponsible of us to just go to that, given the evidence that we had. Even though I did say earlier in the week there was a lot of evidence building over the weekend that the feeling was definitely he could be playing and he's not. I think by the third game of this, everybody said, okay, this is what it is. And that's another reason why I think he was out of here on Tuesday of the week. Not to say people didn't think that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but I think they really thought it by this game on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. It's just a wacky situation, Marcel. I mean, you've been around athletes. You're around these guys. I don't know if it's a tell-all book that will come out. I don't think it will be. But I do think we will hear rumblings of the ramifications of what Ramsey did. And I don't think it matters much to him or him going forward, but I think we'll hear some of the stories over the next few months. Maybe it will take a couple years.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think it's going to be one of those things where one of these guys that are in the locker room right now, they may be retired or they may be on to the next spot or whenever their situation changes, someone's going to ask them, hey, when you went through this back in Jacksonville with Jalen and all that good stuff, what was that like? What was the actual deal? Now, I don't know how forthcoming they'll be with the actual information, but I think there will be kind of some, they'll imply a little bit that it may have been not what it was portrayed to be, so to speak. I know for a fact for me, I mean, look, I'm just like you. I've never played in the NFL. But that doesn't mean I don't know how violent the game is. Like, it's an extremely violent game. Look, if Jalen says his back is hurting, hey, look, I don't have any reason to take him not take him at his word. But I can say that when we were in Denver, he was kind of hanging over with the DBs, Breon Borland and talking with Trey Herndon because obviously he wasn't playing. And then when the Denver Broncos came out the tunnel, DeMarcus Walker and one of his other former FSU teammates, he kind of stood and waited for them to come out the tunnel. And DeMarcus Walker gave him one of the biggest bear hugs I've ever seen in my entire life. And I know for someone, if you have
that had to hurt.
Yeah, if any type of backache, whether you're just minor sore or whatever, once he puts you down, you're very upset. And there was really nothing behind that. So at that point, I was just kind of like, all right, I kind of see what we're doing here. But at the same time, I think, like you said with Doug Marrone, it's one of those things where you can't really just come out and say that, he's faking him. Because one, it makes you look bad on multiple levels. One, that means that a guy's faking in his locker room and he's telling you he's not going to play and you're not doing anything to really rectify the situation or punish him. And two, let's say something does come out or we do find out maybe there is some sort of issue with his back or whatever. Well, you just called a guy out and said that, he wasn't playing because he was faking when it turns out that he wasn't. So it's a very tough spot for Doug Marrone, which we saw, during his press conferences and in his face. He just couldn't go one way or the other. You just kind of got to stay the line. And to be honest with you, I think he handled it about as best as he could.
Yeah, and listen, he was trying to salvage that relationship. He was doing the best he could. No doubt. Again, maybe Doug will tell us that down the road, but he was trying to salvage this thing because him and Ramsey, I think, had an okay relationship. I think that was real.
Yeah.
This was not about Marrone versus Ramsey.
No.
And again, Marrone's job's on the line.
Right.
I want as many good players as I can get. I could give two craps about whatever else is going on. If my job's on the line and I need to win football games every Sunday, I want this guy on the field. And one last thought to the Denver thing before we head to a break, and we will hear from Calais and Miles on that and also on turnovers coming up in the next segment. But, hey, you were there. Remember we got delayed in Denver?
Yep.
And you could already sense that he was on an island in that locker room. We were there watching that Sunday night game while we waited out a 3-hour delay in Denver. We were still at the stadium.
Yep.
And Jalen was on the phone in the back of the room not talking to anybody. One time I think he went up and talked to Boye, but he wasn't talking to anybody. And you could almost just sense this guy already is out the door. Doesn't feel a part of the team and doesn't want to be a part of the team. And I think that was crystal clear. Here, we're going to talk some high school football a little bit later. I know you got some games to go to. You're going out to Oakleaf. Have some fun out there. Thanks for jumping in for a bit, Marcel.
For sure. Clay County, here I come.
Go get it. Marcel Robinson on his way out. And we're coming back to Baker County right after this on ESPN 690. Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Never trust your tax situation to anyone you can't walk in and look in the eye. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Do you want shoes made from nature's original luxury superfiber? Then you need new Skechers washable shoes, made from premium quality wool. To start, we'll wicks away moisture to help keep you dry and comfortable. It's also super flexible and highly breathable. And not only do they keep you cool and comfortable in the summer, but Skechers washable shoes also regulate temperature to keep you warm and toasty in the winter. Plus, they're even washable. Discover the wonders of wool with Skechers washable shoes at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. What's up, Jacksonville? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. This weekend, we are celebrating by giving away up to $50,000 in cash. Play at either Best Bet location for the mini Bad Beats series, starting Friday at noon and running nonstop till Sunday at 11 p.m. If your table has Aces Full, Beaten, and Texas Hold'em or 7-card stud, you'll be splitting $10,000. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Pelicans rookie and number 1 overall pick Zion Williamson will miss a number of weeks at the start of the season. Williamson has a sore right knee, but tests are showing there is no severe damage. That report from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
In the preseason, he started to really live up to a hype that we haven't seen for a player in a very long time, but they expect him back here in a period of weeks in New Orleans.
The Pelicans open the new season against the defending champion Raptors on Tuesday night. The MRI today on Patrick Mahomes' dislocated right kneecap shows no ligament damage, but there's still no official word how long he'll be out. The Chiefs quarterback got hurt last night against the Broncos. Giants running back Saquon Barkley will play Sunday against the Cardinals. Wideout Sterling Shepard is out, still in the concussion protocol. Game 5 of the ALCS tonight in New York. The Yankees now down 3-1. Justin Verlander for the Astros. James Paxton tonight for the Yankees. Our coverage starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year automatically, with no limit to how much they'll match. Millions of people a year are getting their cash back matched. Discover Cashback Match. What are you waiting for? Learn more at discover.com/cashbackmatch.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
You know, I'm one of those guys that gets up in front of the team, and I really just talk from my heart, and I try to keep things in perspective of what the job at hand is. I think that in my past, people have, everyone does, even coaches at times, myself included, early on in my career, you try to take teams places that are so far ahead that you miss out on the day and what you need to do.
Well, that's Doug Marrone. A little bit of insight on how he's trying to handle this thing. I mean, listen, maybe someday I'll write a book. But I think every coach could write a book. I mean, it's not easy being a head coach in the NFL. You get paid a lot of money to do so it's not like we're feeling bad for Doug Marrone. But at the same time, there's a lot to deal with. And these 6 weeks, and I said it earlier in the show, we had Demetrius Harvey on from LockedOnJaguars.com, and it's part of my pregame story coming up on Countdown to Kickoff Sunday morning when I'm live in Cincinnati before the Jags and Bengals game. Marrone deserves a lot of credit. And, it's a hard thing to sit there and pat him on the back too much because they're 2-4. And I also don't think you're going to get – obviously nobody's talking in the front office. So if the front office isn't talking, nobody's really saying, hey, great job, Doug. Doug's really been guiding this ship very well, even despite all this stuff going on. Nobody's saying that because nobody's saying anything in the Jags front office other than Shad Khan, who issued a statement. And I thought he was trying to basically say, listen, our people have done a good job with this. It's about the Jaguars now. But that was probably as close to a compliment for Doug Marrone as anybody really in the building has publicly said, and probably will say for the foreseeable future. I am rooting for Doug Marrone to really I'm rooting for the Jags to win for a lot of reasons. One, because I want them to stay relevant, right? One, I know that all you people listening, Austin would not be happy if I said that. All you folks listening want the Jags to win, or a lot of you do. But I'm rooting them for Doug Marrone, too, because I think he's worth talking about what he's been able to do through these first 6 weeks to get these guys still in the right place and in position. But if you don't win, it doesn't matter. So it's a forgotten topic. And it's not even a footnote. It's just not a story. So I want it to become a story, what Doug Marrone has done. And I do have to admit, if you go back and listen to our show from like a month ago, right after Jalen Ramsey had that outburst with Marrone and requested the trade that day, well, I was kind of all over Doug because I didn't think he handled that situation great, and I still don't. I haven't changed my mind on that. I don't think he should have gone over there on that sideline and approached Ramsey. You got to know there's cameras everywhere. That didn't look good. And on top of that, I thought he should have disciplined Ramsey right there and sat him down for a couple of series at the very least, and they didn't do that. So I'm not backing off that. I would tell Doug if he was right here next to me, that's my opinion on that. But I also think in those first 48 hours, we thought this was a disconnect between Doug Marrone and Ramsey, and it wasn't. And through this whole month, I really think he's done a nice job. But that's the Doug Marrone part of it. Brett Martineau here in Baker County. Somebody asked earlier, said, are you in a backyard? I guess we kind of are in somebody's backyard, right? I mean, it feels like there's a house over there. And the Baker County folks, chicken and rice is almost on the way. We'll have a lot of folks coming out right before kickoff, 7 o'clock kickoff here at Baker County. West Nassau and Baker County, two really good football towns, two small towns in Northeast Florida, really good football towns. They'll play right at Memorial Stadium over there on a beautiful Friday. We hope it stays like this. Has not been sunny, rain threatening a little bit later on, but hopefully the rain holds off. The temperatures are awesome. All right, I want to put a bow a little bit on this Ramsey conversation. And, hey, I tried to stay away from the Ramsey talk for as long as possible, okay? But now that he's playing, it brought it up again. We get emotional around here, and everybody's a little bit emotional around here. Here's some responses. Who would have thought how quick a change of location can heal a back injury? Then Brian says, no shock there, just a self-centered man-child who's completely full of bleep when it comes to caring about his teammates. Great player whom I enjoyed watching, but I hope he got a flu shot now that back is healed. ATL Gator. Jalen Ramsey is a very talented piece of selfish, cancerous, in the locker room garbage who does not care about any team or anyone other than himself. There was a period after every word and all in capital letters. Did I say loud enough for those in the back, he said. He owes us a couple of paychecks probably. One response. He was just interviewed, and he says their defense fits him very well. Does that mean they play a lot of man? Quite frankly, Rachel, as she jumped in on the social media, they actually have not played a lot of man, but there's a lot of thought that Wade Phillips will now change that. They actually play the fourth most zone coverage in the NFL, which everybody said, okay, he doesn't want to play zone coverage. And a lot of people even indicate, I saw some articles written where evaluators say he's not really even that great in the zone coverage. He's so much better in the man, which I would agree he's so much better in the man. I don't know about the not so great in zone, although he's had some lapses at times over the years. But it's interesting he does go to L.A. where they're playing a bunch of zone until now. The thought is they're going to change up to a lot more man coverage out there in L.A. with Wade Phillips and with Jalen Ramsey. Okay, I've been telling you last night, Jaguars All Access, Calais Campbell and Miles Jack, and we had on the show along with myself and Jeff Lagerman from Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. And we talked about Jalen Ramsey, of course. Here's the conversation that we had about Ramsey now that he's been traded to the Rams.
I have to applaud you guys, the leadership, Doug Marrone, somewhere along the way. From the outside looking in, you guys have kept this all together over the last month, seem very focused on Cincinnati. How have you been able to do it amidst all the Ramsey discussion and us asking you all the questions?
Well, at the end of the day, you have to win games. It's just, you have to go and just stay prepared and be the best you can be for the guys who are available. It's like a guy having an injury. He's just not available anymore to you. So at the end of the day, the guys who are available, you suit up, prepare the best you can and go out and try to find a way to get a W.
Human nature, though, you guys are probably ready to be done talking about it. Just move on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of been a headline more outside of the building than inside of the building, but we're definitely glad to move on and just kind of have everybody in the city focus more so on the Jags than, a situation.
Miles, are you not allowed to be emotional about it one way or another just because of the job you guys do? Or is there some emotion, we just don't see it in front of a microphone?
It's a mixture of both. you kind of look at it both ways, but at the end of the day, like kind of piggybacking off of what Calais said, we have a job to do, and that's the most important thing. We just got to try and win games, put together stretches, and a lot of guys have stepped up in absence of Jalen, so it's been cool to see.
It's interesting hearing Miles Jack talk about it, and again, they say all the right things. Calais Campbell last night said a lot of the right things, but it's almost like I still can't get over, you can't even hear it in their voice, that there's this emotion like, I can't believe he's gone. You know, I can't believe Jalen Ramsey's gone. I can't believe that they took away maybe our best defensive player. Instead, you do get the sense by some that, yes, all right, I like Jalen Ramsey. He's my buddy. He's a really good player. But I'm tired of this stuff. And if that means he's gone because it's over, well, fine. That's really what the sense you got. I do believe there's a bit of fatigue. In fact, I walked out of that show last night. I didn't walk out. It was done. But when I walked out, I said, I kind of was thinking to myself, I was trying to figure out, put all that together and read into what these guys were saying and how kind of like their body language, too, and what they said on the show. And I'm a little bit concerned Sunday that they've almost been too fatigued by the Ramsey stuff, if that makes sense. And what that means for Sunday, I don't know if they're just kind of like, oh, man, this thing's finally over, and now let's go play ball, and they get all excited about that. I'm not sure. I just don't know how their reaction in terms of their play on the football field will be on Sunday after all this. This has been a trying time the last month, but especially the last week, now that you know it, there's a conclusion to it. And I think some of the leadership part, right? The Miles Jack, the Calais Campbell. Obviously, we saw Doug Marrone a little bit testy on Wednesday about having to answer these questions, and not necessarily with the media, more so aimed, I think, at the front office. So I sense that, and I don't know now what happens after that. Is that relief? Let's go play ball and see you, Jalen? Or is it like still kind of stuck in this rut of, my gosh, this thing has been what else we have to deal with? So I'll be interested to see if there's any kind of hangover like that coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals. We will certainly find out. And quite frankly, like I've said all week long and said a couple times on the show, they cannot afford it. They have got to play like their hair is on fire on Sunday, like hair on fire, like Andy Dalton's hair is on fire. They need to do that on Sunday. The Bengals will be desperate. What level of desperate? Do they care if they win? Does the organization almost now want to vie with Miami for the top pick? Who knows what they're feeling like? The players want to win. So there'll be a bit of desperation. And obviously the new head coach there, and Zach Taylor, has a bit of desperation to get a W. And the Jags don't come in here pounding their chest like, they're world beaters. So if you're Cincinnati, you're like, hey, we can beat this team. We got a rookie quarterback on the other side. We can do that. We can beat them. They lost their best player in Jalen Ramsey. We can beat them. So there's a level of desperation about Cincinnati, and maybe even a weird kind of confidence. The Jaguars should have that tenfold because it matters way more for the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this football game on Sunday. Simple as that. They have to win against the Cincinnati Bengals. We are going to talk more about this defense and turnovers coming up in just a bit. I also have our Baker Sports Coach of the Week coming up here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. But coming up next, we visit with a former Jag and a former Jag. Two of them, actually, on the way. We go to Murray State, where Austin Lane will jump in the conversation. And Micah Ross joins us. He's out here in Baker County, going to call the game with me tonight. West Nassau, Baker County, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, our game of the week. But before we do that, we finish up Action Sports Jax, our afternoon radio show. And that goes on with our celebrity six-pack of picks. Who do you like? Jags Bengals, Gators Gamecocks, Knowles Wake Forest. And we got a few more games to throw in there as well. It's on the way here at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Some light rain and a few showers this evening with mild temperatures and showers and perhaps a thunderstorm increasing overnight in the upper 60s to low 70s. Saturday will be under the influence of Tropical Storm Nestor, so there'll be bands of heavy showers and thunderstorms. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Honda of the Avenues introduces model year-end savings on our hottest 2019 Honda models. Right now, get 0% financing on 2019 Accord, Civic, CR-V, Pilot, and Odyssey for up to 60 months. You heard right, 0% financing for up to 60 months at Honda of the Avenues, the Honda Giant.
0% for 60 months on 2019 new non-titled models only. Must be approved on tiers 1 through 8 through AHFC. All sales prices are plus tax, tag, registration, and dealer fee of $898. Maximum $30,000 finance before optional business office products. Cannot combine offers. Offer ends 10/31/19.
You know you'd like to add an $80 gift card to your wallet. Well, that's exactly what you can get this October at any of Tire Outlet's 9 locations. We're here to tell you about the Yokohama Fall Rebate at TireOutlet.com. You'll receive up to $80 on a Visa prepaid card or Visa virtual account with your purchase of 4 select Yokohama tires. The Yokohama Fall Rebate offer, only this month. See more rebates and info at TireOutlet.com. Wholesale prices, premium service.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family Food Football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all 3. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And you're home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations. Or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family Food and Football at Renna's Pizza.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
The cooler temperatures are finally here, and that means it's time to play some golf at a great golf course. Go to the Golf Club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. Unbelievable promotion here. 2 free months of full golf membership and a $500 gift card with a paid initiation fee and a 12-month commitment. The Golf Club at Southampton, home of the Dream 18. And your new golfing destination. For information on these unbelievable programs, call the Golf Club at Southampton at 904-287-PLAY. That's 904-287-PLAY.
What's the fastest way to get behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota? Toyota Rent-A-Car from my friends over at Arlington Toyota. The 2020 models are now arriving at Arlington Toyota, and Toyota Rent-A-Car is the best way to try it before you buy it. Got a road trip coming up, a long weekend with the girls, or a football getaway maybe? Toyota Rent-A-Car at Arlington Toyota's got you covered with an amazing selection of 2020 Toyotas that are road and rental ready. Everything about renting a Toyota from Arlington Toyota is easy. They've got amazing 2020 models, simple online reservations, and staff that's always eager to help. Gotta tell you, the hardest part's gonna be when it's time to turn your rental back in. These 2020s are sweet. Toyota Rent-A-Car from Arlington Toyota is ready to put you behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota for your next adventure. Just visit arlingtontoyota.com. That's arlingtontoyota.com and get your online reservation started today.
Nolik and Wingo are coming to Jacksonville for the Florida-Georgia game.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo. I want to invite you to come watch us do our show live from Intuition Ale Works on Friday, November 1st. To register for your chance to win VIP passes, go to ESPN690.com.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, welcome back here to Baker County. West Nassau, Baker County is our game of the week on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. 7 o'clock kickoff. You know, Kevin Sullivan usually joins me for the games. He's been doing a fantastic job. We've had awesome games the last 2 weeks, 2 overtime games. Rains beat Sandalwood, and then last week Lee beat Columbia in OT. This week, Sully's up in the mountains somewhere, I guess. That's what happens when you retire from coaching football. You'll find this out soon, Micah Ross. You're joining me in the booth, so you're joining us here as well at Baker County for a little sports talk. What's happening?
Oh, nothing. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to see this good game tonight between Baker County and West Nassau.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. 2 good football towns and really 2 good football teams, too. West Nassau comes in 6-1, Baker County 4-3. We'll talk more about that in a little. We have our pick segment coming up in just a moment, and Austin Lane will join us in just a moment. But first, we have to hit our happy hour horn right now on a Friday.
party now begin. See the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace, no. Nothing. Anything goes. Gangsters rolling, half-face smiling. It's all about think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes.
Grab a drink, get a shot, and tip your star tenders. And Brent, have a little extra because the Houston Astros probably beat the New York Yankees, and you're happy. If they didn't, this is pre-recorded, so I'm sorry.
Hey, we always wonder what we do when Austin's not here in that part of the happy hour horn. Well, there we go. He recorded one. And by the way, Austin was right. Houston did win. They were up 3-1. By the way, Vita de Luis recently not only got a 94 rating, that's been bumped to a 98 rating. Just came out this week. So that's how good it is. A locally owned tequila in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, shipped directly to Jack's Beach. Make your own recipes with Vita de Luis Tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. And by the way, help out our friends in the Bahamas, the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising. If you go to VitaDeLuis.com, 50% of all the merchandise you purchase will go to those funds to help out the folks in the Bahamas. So from on tape to live on the phone, I think Austin Lane will now join us. Did you make it to Murray State?
Yes, Brent, I made it to Murray State. I am here.
How long a drive? 9.5 hours?
So we're talking about a 9.5 hour drive. I stopped kind of on the outskirts of Atlanta a little bit, spent the night there, recharged my batteries, and then got here around probably noon today. Went to the gym, got a workout in, trying to stay on top of that. But I got to tell you a quick story. So obviously, you know, if I'm going towards Atlanta area, there's a thing called, and you've bragged up many times, it's called the Busy Bee. And yeah. Well, I didn't know that there's obviously more than one of those gas stations, apparently. And I made it a habit to go to the one that was kind of further away because I was trying to time the gas and everything so I could pump back up. Well, I go to a Busy Bee, and I must have went to the wrong one because I've seen 7-Elevens have a lot more to offer than this Busy Bee.
You went to the wrong one, Mayor. Man, there are Busy Bees like we were in Lake City for the our game of the week, and there was a Busy Bee right there connected to a gas station, much like Circle K is connected to the gas stations, or now Daly's Place, all those. But the Busy Bee that everybody talks about, you had to stop on the one on I-10, like in Live Oak, like only an hour and a half from here.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's
then it was definitely the wrong one. Yeah.
It was,
all this one had was like beef jerky. I'm like, that's it? Beef jerky? That's all you bring on the table? So I was not impressed, to say the least.
Listen, here's the good thing is, on the way back, your life is going to be changed, and you already know it. So that's beautiful.
Well, and as far as it's concerned right now, the expectations are set pretty low, so I can't wait on the way back to see what it's got to offer.
I think it's 283, exit 283 on I-10. So there you go, Busy Bee.
I am making a note right now. But
you have to hit that one. It's a specific one. Make sure you get there. All right, so you have a big home. So what are a lot of guys coming back for this reunion, 10-year reunion?
So actually this is going to be the largest group of guys that have come back for homecoming is what I've been told. So it's going to be a good turnout. I already saw some of my teammates and everything when I first got into town. And so, yeah, it's great to see everybody. I'll be honest, Murray State's changed a lot since I've been here going to school, obviously, especially because when I went to school, it was a dry county. So, like, buying a beer in a gas station was preposterous. So, like, it's just kind of crazy to even see, like, it's crazy to see bars now at Murray State University. Just that's something I never thought I would see. So, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Hey, by the way, have you ripped down all the posters and billboards of Quincy Williams?
No, because seeing how I really have no room to talk because I haven't really donated any money to the university yet, they can do whatever they want in my picture until I start giving back some money. In that case, then I better see a giant mural of me, kind of like James had in Cleveland or whatever.
Yeah, LeBron's mural. or the one that just came down of Jalen Ramsey.
There we go. Exactly.
All right. So Austin Lane there. We're going to do our celebrity six-pack of picks right now. And I know you can't see, Micah Ross is with us, former Jags player, former JU Dolphin, current teacher and coach at Atlantic Coast High School, head coach of the basketball team.
All right, man. How's the basketball season's here, right? Like, you guys are practicing?
Yeah, November 4th, it all starts. We're conditioning right now, getting a little bit stronger, getting in shape, and guys are ready and excited to go. And just another season, year 10. It's our 10 year. So we're just ready to get out there and get it going. Those guys are chomping at the bit to just go out and play.
Atlantic Coast's been around 10 years now.
10 years.
Wow.
10 whole years.
How about that? I did not realize. I guess that's about as long as the construction has been happening on 295.
I know. They're building beautiful community back there and on 9B, so it's gonna be bigger.
What is 25 seasons of the Jags? We've asked a lot of these guys over the last few months, right? 25 seasons, you were a part of it. What did it mean? Like last week, there was a homecoming, all these players back. How do you still follow it closely? I see you on social media all the time. You go to games or watch games, and what's it mean?
It was a great weekend. First of all, seeing all the old players and seeing all my teammates, and everyone was there. It was happy. The gala, Mark Bonnell did a great job putting together the gala. Dan Edwards, all of the whole Jaguar organization that came out, everyone supported it. It was like a really, really nice event. And the whole 25 years, I don't toot my own horn, but I always tell guys, listen, I was there when Mr. Weaver made the announcement. Me and my brother were there. So I've been a fan forever. Being able to be one of the first people from Jacksonville to play for the Jags, no one can ever take that from me. And I've only gone against the Jags once, and that's when I was in San Diego and I played against them. But I've been a fan, a diehard fan, just like the normal fans. I've worked in the stadium. I've worked in the West Concourse. So I've done all those different things. So for 25 years, it's hard to believe, being from Jacksonville, born and raised, lived here my whole life, and to be able to just experience what the Jags have meant to this community, to the city, just everyone. It's just been an awesome experience.
That's awesome. That's really cool, too. I didn't realize you, worked there, and I knew you were from here.
Yes.
But kind of you and Rasheen.
Yep.
Is anybody else?
We've had Jamal Fudge.
Fudge, yep.
I think there was one more, but for the most part, we've been the only Jacksonville guys that have played, and Fudge, I think, was a year, but it's just definitely an honor.
The receiver played for the Sharks for Harvey.
Harvey, okay.
I think he might have got a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
with
he definitely got a cup of coffee with him, man. It's an experience to play in your hometown, and it's something that you'll never forget.
That's really cool. All right, let's do it. Pick time so Austin can go party like it's not a dry county anymore at Murray State. And
well, I still have a fight coming up, Brent, so it's going to be nothing but water for me, but appreciate it, though.
Man, what a bummer. That's why you don't
know,
pick
right?
fighting as a second career.
I know. It's crazy.
See, I could drink all I wanted last night at the Zach Brown Band concert.
But, before we get started, how was Zach Brown Band concert?
It was awesome.
Legit?
Yeah, it's legit. I saw him in Atlanta a couple years ago at the baseball stadium. This is the only thing I'll say. I'm not going to talk about the concert too much, but first of all, I'm just a big fan of Zach Brown Band. So name your whoever artist, right, or group, whatever it is that you'd love to go see in concert once a week, and that's it for me.
Casey Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves, very good. That or Garth is like that for me too. Garth Brooks, country guy, but.
Gotcha.
But Zach Brown Band concert is cool because you could like all different kinds of music. They're really talented. They cover a lot of different artists, and so it's part of their concert, which is cool. They did. They ended the show with Rage Against the Machine, right?
Okay.
That's how they ended it. That was after the
That's
encore.
Awesome.
And they also mixed in Dave Matthews Band with another song earlier in the show. So they love to cover stuff. But I just think it's fantastic. The other thing I'll say, though, is that I haven't seen a ton of concerts in baseball stadiums, but, man, that Daly's Place venue is 10 times better than watching it in a ballpark.
I've heard.
Yeah. So anyway, overall, it was really good. Hey, by the way, I'm going to get a little video right now, and I can't turn the camera, but the Baker County, this is how you know it's good high school football town, all right? Baker County gets a police escort from school to the stadium.
That's pretty legit.
In their buses.
Wow.
Not bad, right?
Wow.
That's pretty
awesome.
legit. That's like some NFL stuff right there, Brent.
Yeah, it is like NFL stuff. And, we see that for Florida, Georgia, and they'll get the police escort. But it's kind of cool. That's how much this town cares about high school football. They love it. And their stadium's not right at the high school, so that makes it a little bit different. All right. I'm keeping you too long. Let's do it. We start with some college. And we only have 2 college games today. Because I didn't really like the games. I didn't think the weekend was great, but I actually like these from a point spread standpoint. We got the Florida Gators at South Carolina,
and it's 5-point favorite for the Gators. And I think that's actually dropped a little bit. I think it started off around 6, but it's dropped. What do you like here? The Gators with the points, or will South Carolina cover and maybe pull off an upset, Austin?
Oh, you know, if it was 6, I'd be getting a little more nervous, but go ahead and give me Florida with the points.
All right. What do you say, man?
Definitely Florida. South Carolina had a game last week, and I just like the way Florida's playing right now, so they should bounce back.
Man, I don't want to agree with everybody here. Coos, are you going to pick South Carolina?
No, dude. I'm like a 2-6 for like the whole past 3 weeks.
Screw it. I'll pick South Carolina then. I'll take the points. I think the Gators do win because they find ways to win, but this does scare me a little bit if I'm a Gator fan this game. I don't really think South Carolina's that good. I think that was kind of a one-off, but the noon start, and again, the high of playing in Baton Rouge and actually playing well. It's okay they lost the game, but they played well, and they still have the disappointment of losing. And then you go from this high of playing at night in Baton Rouge, maybe the best college football atmosphere there is, to playing in Columbia, at noontime. That's a big difference, man. And getting up for, I could see some lazy, lethargic football out of the Gators in the first half that keeps South Carolina around.
Yeah, those coaches, though, they've been in their ears to see what happened last week, so they're going to be ready.
Well, and that's true, right? I mean, that doesn't sneak up on you. Georgia just experienced it, and maybe South Carolina's playing good. I'm going to take South Carolina with the points. I still think Gators win. All right, Florida State at Wake Forest. Really interesting. Wake Forest 5-1. They were in the top 20 last week. They give up 62 points and lose 62-59. So they can score the football. They're 5-1. This is an uh-oh game for Florida State. What do you think, Micah?
Well, I'm going to go with Florida State, but the only reason I am because I just think they have to bounce back. I mean, those guys are playing hard. They're not quitting. And Wake Forest, Wake Forest is still going to be Wake Forest. Now, here's going to be weather. That's going to make it a little bit tougher. But if it's weather, Florida State's able to control the line of scrimmage, and you'll think that Florida State should be able to win that one.
All right, Austin, what you got?
What are the points for this one, Brent?
It's just a 1-point favorite for Wake. It's at Wake Forest.
Oof. And who's the starting quarterback for Florida State? Is it Blackman or Hornibrook?
Good question. I think they still haven't said.
So it's by committee possibly, so then go ahead and give me Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. Okay, I'm going to come with you and say Florida State, Micah. I think Florida State will figure out a way, and I like what you said there. See, they got to get away from all this offensive, we want to score 1 million points, and give the damn ball to Cam Akers.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, give them the football. Who cares about the quarterback stuff? Give them the football. I know they don't have a Wisconsin offensive line, but let that guy do more work. Get him the ball, and especially if it's rainy or the weather's bad, maybe that helps them a little bit. Just do that by default. So I'm going to take them. All right, let's go to the NFL now. And in the NFL, we have 4 games to pick from. And I put this one in on purpose. Now pick with your head, fellas, not with your heart. The Rams at the Falcons. Jalen Ramsey looks like he's going to play. And the Rams are favored by 3, Austin. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, man. So it goes from Julio being one of my fantasy favorites to dropping to probably below 30 in my favorites for fantasy football. So let me go ahead and say this real quick, Brent. The past couple weeks, I've made some pretty good calls. I called Will Fuller 2 weeks ago. I called Stephon Diggs last week. I'm calling Todd Gurley is going to have a big game, and fantasy football players, especially daily fantasy football players, should take note. So I have the Rams winning big. I'm taking the Rams.
Oh. He gives fantasy advice, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And I'm playing him in fantasy this week. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Josh Oliver, I think, instead of a healthy Evan Ingram, just so I can look so smart on Sunday night.
Good luck with that.
All right, what you got?
I definitely think that Julio is going to get Jalen on a double move because Jalen's going to be excited, hadn't played in a week. But definitely, I like the Gurley pick. He's due for a breakout game. The Falcons just have not been playing well. They're 1-5. I think the Falcons will score a couple, but I think the Rams will be able to pull away and cover and win that ball game.
Yeah, this is such a hard pick, I think, because the Falcons are not they're bad, but they're not awful, and they should be better. They win that game last week, and we might think differently if Matt Bryant kicks an extra point. I think they go on to win that game in overtime or whatever it might have been. And maybe I am picking with my heart, guys. I'm not picking Jalen Ramsey this week, all right? I'm picking the Falcons. I think they're too good of a football team on paper to be 1-6. It's not how the NFL works. The Falcons can't go to 1-6, can they? And I'm not sure. Listen, the Rams have lost 3 in a row and are not playing well.
Exactly.
So it's not like you're buying something that's hot and you're like, oh, my gosh, what an upset. Right now, if you take the last few weeks, these are just 2 bad football teams. So I'll take the Falcons. All right, next up, I think a really hard pick. The Texans at the Colts, and the Colts are favored by 1, and the Texans seem to be playing pretty good football right now, Micah.
The Texans are one of the best teams in the entire AFC in the league. I think they're playing their explosive. Deshaun Watson is just moving the ball around. Those guys, they're never out, and they just beat a really good team in Kansas City. So I'm definitely picking the Texans. They're going to go in there. I to be honest with you, I think they're going to run away with that game. It's not going to be close.
Interesting. All right, what do you got, Austin?
Man, go ahead and give me the Texans. I think Deshaun Watson actually performs better on the road than he does at home. I get it. Indy's a tough place to play, and Houston's kind of coming off a big win. Will it be kind of a letdown? I don't see it happening. Go ahead and give me Houston with 1 point.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's a tough game to pick. That's why I put it on there. I'm going to take the Colts, guys. I think the Colts at home will kind of throw a wrench into this division. In fact, they'll be in first place by the end of Sunday because they'll go to 4-2. Remember, they already had their bye, and that would drop the Texans to 4-3. I think this is one of those games that the Colts figure out a way to get it done. Remember, they ran all over the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago. I think the Colts will get it done by 1 at home in a pretty good football game. Saints in Chicago, 3.5-point favorite for the Bears. What are we missing here, Austin? What Vegas knows something.
Man.
Oh, I will give you this, and I know you've been driving, but obviously Drew Brees is out and Bridgewater's been winning. Alvin Kamara is out of the game. Jared Cook will not play in the game. Why couldn't he not play last week? And so they're without a couple of guys now, and if you start adding that up, right, if you just put it on paper and didn't know what the record of the Saints was at this point, and you said, okay, no Drew Brees, no Alvin Kamara, no Jared Cook, you're like, oh, they're missing a lot.
Man, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, anytime you take Alvin Kamara out of the mix, you're going to be down a little bit. I think Latavius Murray, their backup, is serviceable, but he's not Alvin Kamara. Bears defense is too strong, and I feel like this is going to kind of be like the game for Mitchell Trubisky to try to get him going a little bit, trying to be the leader of that franchise. So go ahead and give me the Bears here.
All right, what do you say, Micah?
I like the Saints in a close game. I think the defense for the Saints have gotten a lot better. I watched them last week, and they did a good job against Jacksonville that came in with scoring some points. But just overall, even without Kamara, I think that Murray will be able to do just enough, and Bridgewater, it'll be a low-scoring game, I think. But I think they'll be able to do just enough to win this game.
Well, keep in mind, too, Chicago's 3.5-point favorite. I kind of like what you're saying there. Like, I think Chicago might win the game. I think I like them in a pick 'em contest. But with the 3.5 points, I feel like I like the Saints because it could be 14-13, right? I mean, it's going to be very much like what happened last week. The only difference here is I think because Trubisky obviously has more experience, even though I don't think he's very good, has more experience. They look at that game tape a little bit from what they did to Minshew. And Allen Robinson has the ability to make plays, former Jaguar player. I mean, I think they have a couple of guys that can go up and make a play for you, and we didn't see that out of the Jags offense last week, even though the first 5 weeks it showed like they could. I'm going to take the points here because if you're giving me a 5-1 football team and you're giving me 3.5 points, I'll take the hook. I really like that. All right, last off, Jaguars and Bengals. The line's up to 4.5 for the Jags. Remember now, the Bengals, they don't have anybody playing. A.J. Green, Carlos Dunlap, Cordy Glenn suspended. Their 2 defensive backs are out. I mean, the Bengals are beat up. Yeah, they're desperate. So are the Jags. What do you think, Austin? Jaguars favored by 4.5.
Yeah, so that's one research I did this morning was I took a look at the Bengals injury report, and I thought I was reading War and Peace. It was that long. It was absolutely ridiculous. Go ahead and give me the Jaguars by 4.5. By 4.5. I'm not worried about that at all. I think this is a setup game for Gardner Minshew. Gain him some confidence. I think Fournette's going to feast with his defensive line where they are good in the middle, but they lack discipline on the edges. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're pretty big.
All right, Micah. Homer up, baby.
Yeah, Duval till we die. But I think the Jags will win. But I'm thinking this, believe it or not, it's going to be a last-second field goal. And they're gonna sneak in. They're not gonna cover, but they'll get the win. I just feel like, you know, everyone keeps saying the distractions with those inner guys getting paid. There's not distractions, but I just feel like Cincinnati's gonna come out. They're gonna play hard. Gonna be at home. Jacksonville's gonna have to come out. They got to scramble, find themselves, but they'll find a way to get out of there with a win. I just don't think they're going to cover.
It's interesting because there's not a lot of times. Listen, I've covered the Jags for a dozen years. Not a lot of times I have like a lot of confidence in the Jags.
But even though Cincinnati, you're almost scared of the team that's winless, right, or has a bad record because you're like, oh, no, here we go. The Jags are going to be that team. I don't feel that way this week. I do feel a level of focus, even with the Ramsey stuff. I feel like they will come to play, and they're just flat out better. See, I think the Jags are a halfway decent football team. I'm not saying they're good, but I don't think they're bad, even though they're 2-4. I think Cincinnati's pretty bad. And then you add up all these injuries, it just doesn't fit. I think this would be one that I'd probably go to Vegas with. And I'd say, hey, I'll cover that 4.5, no problem. I think the Jaguars are going to win like 27-10 and take care of business, and it will be a no-doubter for the Jags at the end of the day. Maybe I'm just hoping, but I think that's what happens. All right, man. Hey, have a fun weekend. Who does Murray State play?
So Murray State's playing Eastern Kentucky. I'm not sure of what the point spread's going to be, but
the Colonels.
I like Murray State.
The Colonels.
It is the Colonels. Yes, sir.
So, hey, were you guys any good when you were there? I forget.
Not really. No, so it's funny. Our defense was pretty dominant. Our offense had some faults. I want to say my senior year we only won 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. But from my class, we had 3 guys go to the NFL. And then from the underclass, we had 2 guys go to the NFL. So, 5 guys total, which is pretty unheard of in, FCS football. So we were talented. Unfortunately, just couldn't put the wins together.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to start blaming you for this then, because you guys struggled win-loss-wise at Murray State. Malarkey continues to blame you for being 2-14 here in Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
And quite frankly, I don't have a tattoo yet, so we're not number 1 in the ratings.
You know what, man? If you want to put that burden on me, so be it.
Hey, but you are undefeated in the cage ever since you joined the radio show. So,
to me, that's all that matters.
Me too. You got a fight coming up on November 9th. All right, hey, be safe out there. Have a lot of fun with that. Those are good times, and hopefully you have a great weekend and the safe ride back. By the way, on the ride back, don't be afraid, around Sunday morning, come through Atlanta and trip Jalen Ramsey on his way onto the field.
Hey, just because he doesn't follow you on Twitter doesn't mean I have to do anything for him, all right? I'm neutral when it comes to Jalen Ramsey. I have no emotion tied to it, and having no emotion means I'm not going to trip him on the football field. Sorry to say.
Once a brotherhood, always a brotherhood, I guess.
You better believe it, man.
Thanks for checking in. Have some fun.
All right, take it easy.
All right, Austin Lane at Murray State. Appreciate him jumping in on our picks. You can get the other guys' picks as well, as we'll put that out on social media. Action Sports Jack, Stuart Weber, Marcel Robinson, and, of course, Kuz playing along. And we appreciate everybody else having fun with that. You can play along, too. In fact, I did get somebody else's picks earlier in the show. I should probably share them. Let's see, what did they say? If I can find it quick enough. See, we get a lot of social media activity, I guess. Florida, FSU, the Rams, Texans, Chicago, and the Jags. All right, good picks. When we come back, we'll finish up the show with our Baker Sports Coach of the Week. We'll set you up for a little high school football and a final thought or two on the Jags with Micah Ross, former Jags player, former JU Dolphin, and now the head basketball coach at Atlantic Coast High School. That's next from Baker County. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. In baseball, the New York Yankees find themselves one game from elimination in the ALCS. They take on the Astros in a pivotal Game 5 tonight. Some good news for Sunday's game. We should finally see rookie tight end Josh Oliver get a little action, and the team signed Perry Nickerson, a cornerback, in his second year to help fill the void left by Jalen Ramsey. Here's defensive coordinator Todd Wash talking about moving forward without our former cornerback.
We're going to have to change some things up and make sure that we're still putting our guys in position to make plays. It's the most important thing.
Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Ace is celebrating their 95th birthday with sale prices for you. Ace pleated air filters, assorted sizes, buy 2, get 1 free. Birdseed, just $9.99 per bag for 40 pounds of wild bird food. Or 20 pounds of black oil sunflower seed. Fortify your turf from the cold with Fertilome Winterizer. Now $17.99 per bag. Shop the 95th anniversary sale Abration at your neighborhood Ace. For additional sale items, visit jacksace.com. Get it delivered by shopping at acehardware.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
How many jewelry stores ask you to shop around? Beard's Diamonds wants you to see the selection and pricing other stores have to offer. Why? Here's Ben from Beard's Diamonds to tell you.
Because at Beard's, we are so confident in our diamond prices. So confident that no other store can touch Beard's prices. That we're willing to give you a $500 gift card if you find a GIA certified diamond for less anywhere in North Florida.
Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com. See store for details.
Homegrown and ready to help the home team look good on Friday nights and every night in any sport, Baker Sports has been doing just that since 1997. Your team experts offer the top brands like Under Armour and Adidas. Screen print, embroidery, and trophies all done in-house right here in Jacksonville. Baker Sports will get you ready for your big game. Looking good so you can play good. Play ball with your team experts at Baker Sports.
In an ocean of car dealers, there's only one, Atlantic Infiniti. The all-new 2020 Infinitis are coming in, most loaded with luxury and convenience that will delight and amaze you. With Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, delivering exceptional touchscreen command of your email, texts, music, and maps. Now at the one and only Atlantic Infiniti's new showroom. Call for a test drive, 642-0200. Atlantic Infiniti, 10980 Atlantic Boulevard. Follow the wave.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Hey, boss, how's it going?
Don't even talk to me.
Uh-oh, sounds like you're having a moment.
It's not a moment. It's just been one of those days.
Boss, what happened?
So I'm driving around doing errands and stuff. I counted 14 Safe Touch security signs while I was out. 14!
Well, I guess word's out that Safe Touch is the best.
I mean, there's Safe Touch signs in yards, Safe Touch stickers on drive-thru windows, Safe Touch on billboards, Safe Touch on the radio. I'm about to lose my mind.
Boss, it's okay. There's still plenty of houses out there without Safe Touch.
Yeah, but the more people hear about the two-way communicator, the guaranteed response time, the crash and smash.
What do kids say these days? Safe Touch is going viral. Kind of funny when you think about it.
I hate Safe Touch.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by ***, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing *** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's ** Mobile. When prospective customers see your offline or online ad and they dial your branded ** Mobile number, ** Mobile helps to convert them through text, voice, and online communications. Give it a try now by dialing ** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's ** Mobile.
At Action News Jax, we're here for severe. When storms threaten, put your trust in the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, rated the most accurate for the last 13 years.
The First Alert Weather Team is the only team of certified meteorologists in the Jacksonville area. That means we have the most schooling and training to forecast and predict severe weather, and that experience will keep you safe from a storm.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
How have binoculars and just the general discomfort that comes with using binoculars, how have we not improved that?
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
I'm Kevin Rahm, and this is Action Sports Jax.
We know the scheme that they're going to do. You know, we see film on the coaching staff, and we can do that. And then there's always ways to find tape on guys, and we'll do it. We got a lot of guys working really hard on that. So I feel comfortable being able to prepare for anybody to throw out.
That's pretty interesting from Gardner Minshew, because I feel like they saw something on tape last week from the Saints, or at least on the field, that they hadn't seen on tape. And that's when you have to adjust on the fly. I think John DeFilippo took a little bit of the blame for that, probably rightfully so. I think a little bit of it is the rookie blues, and we talked about it all week long. Can he bounce back? Now there shouldn't be many surprises. I think once you get 6 games in, and probably maybe there's a couple more wrinkles. But how many different ways can you play defense, Micah Ross? I mean, Gardner Minshew probably has seen it all at this point.
No. Well, there's only so many ways you can. But it's just pre-snap is where we probably getting a little bit of different looks, and they're kind of coming at them, and then they're bailing or pressing and all those different things. But, once team has a lot of film on you, that's when they're at most effective with you, because they can see all your tendencies and all your habits and everything you're doing.
Yeah, and again, I think we talked about it a bunch this week. And yesterday, Austin Lane took us to the wall that says it all, and that's on YouTube on our Action Sports Jax channel and on the show from yesterday. But, they had a bunch of guys. Not only did they do the cover 2 against Gardner Minshew, but they had a bunch of guys on the line of scrimmage to do what you just said. Yep. Played with his head a little bit, disguise some things. Okay, what are they going to do with that? A little bit of doubt, not just for Minshew, but for the offensive line and even Fournette in the backfield. Okay, what's going on here? So if anybody's got a little doubt, well, that whole team game, all being on the same page, sometimes gets thrown off.
And everything moves a lot slower. So if you have the receivers trying to see what coverage you're in, because in zone defense coverage, you got a different route from when you're in man, and now you got the quarterback is reading, so you're in man, you're seeing zone. Now they're pressing. Now the windows are a little bit tighter. Now everyone is moving just a half a step slower, and the defense is moving at their speed because they know what they're doing, and they kind of can throw the whole rhythm off the whole offense.
All right, we talked a lot about the offense. Brent Martineau here, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We're wrapping up a week where the Jaguars need to win on Sunday. Micah Ross, former Jacksonville Jaguar, former JU Dolphin, now the head basketball coach at Atlantic Coast High School. Their season starts in just a few weeks. Talking a little bit of Jags to wrap things up. But I want to go back to last night. Jaguars All Access. Jeff Lageman, Calais Campbell, and Miles Jack, they talked about one thing that we're not probably talking about enough, and that's getting the football. This defense found itself a little bit last week. They did better things. They played more fundamental football, assignment football. They have 1 freaking turnover in 6 games. I mean, that's not good. You can get average defenses, even bad defenses, that do better than that. The Jaguars need to get turnovers. Here's that conversation last night.
Jeff Lageman here with Miles Jack and Calais Campbell. You guys are finding a way to get that consistency as a defense. But the next step for you guys, because turnover differential is the single most determinant factor in every game, is finding a way to get takeaways. How do you go about getting takeaways and making the awareness heightened?
Yeah, I'd say first is being physical. The second part of it is just that second man coming in. You know what I mean? When you're going in to make a tackle and you see the guys already got him wrapped up, trying to get a punch in, trying to get a strip in, and then I guess the third element, it really kind of comes to the D-line. Calais can kind of speak more on it on just getting after the quarterback, being physical, stripping that ball. So it's a couple things, man, and I just feel like they're going to come at the right time. I know they will.
Ball awareness, rushing the passer. A big issue, and we always, as a defensive lineman, even though I'm an old one, you got to earn the right to rush the passer, and then when you do, ball awareness.
Without a doubt, I think the biggest thing, which we have been good at in years past, especially with Unique Ngakoue, is getting that ball out. Getting on the ground when you're tackling the quarterback. You want to tackle his throwing arm. You want to try to get to him before he throws it. But at the same time, even in the run game, you have to be ball aware. You have to be able to, get your hand on the ball, pull it out. But we were talking about before is swarm tackling. Everybody getting to the ball, so when the ball's on the ground, we can get it. Because the ball's been on the ground a lot this year, and we haven't recovered one of them. And that's something that we have to get better at, is making sure that we swarm tackle and everybody's getting to the ball, so when that ball is on the ground, we're the first ones there to pick it up.
That's what the term on coaches call populate the ball.
Population.
All right, one thing I want to clarify, because you talked about throwing a punch.
Right.
Okay, and it's not a punch that you're trying to get into a fight with a guy, but Charles Tillman, who made this famous with the Chicago Bears, had the nickname of Peanut.
Peanut punch.
If I've got the ball right here, show people what the punch is.
So basically, you're just trying to punch that ball out, simple as the term, but just trying to punch it out when the ball carrier is moving with the ball, kind of that moment of them bringing it apart from their rib cage, just trying to get that thing out.
And typically that's the second guy coming in.
Right.
First guy, some guys can do it on the first one, and they come in and the boom, and they're throwing it from the front.
Right.
I mean, so many times people have always known just to throw it from the back, but the great ones do it from the front, the back, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it really takes a special kind of player to be running full speed,
it's
be
risky,
ball aware, and be able to punch it out and secure the tackle. And that's what made Peanut Tillman one of the best to ever do it, because that is hard to do.
Populate the ball and get the ball out.
Absolutely.
Well, that's Jeff Lageman and Miles Jack and Calais Campbell from Jaguars All Access last night. Really good on a couple different topics. We heard from about Jalen Ramsey, but now about turnovers, and that's a key. This defense, to take that next level, to be where they want to be, you've got to turn the football over. Speaking of the punch, it's interesting. You were doing that motion, too. You knew where Miles was going. Micah Ross here with us in Baker County on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. How many do guys get hurt on the punch sometimes? They punch either the wrong thing or just – could you break a finger, hand, whatever it might be?
Ever
see that?
I've never known a defensive guy to get hurt. I mean, an offensive guy might get punched every now and then if they not calculated where they're swinging. But no, it's one of those moves where the guy they time it up and they punch down on the ball, and it just for the offensive guy, if you don't have it high and tight and secure, it's going to come out.
Absolutely. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, even though I know you're not supposed to lose the ball, and ball security is all about that. And by the way, if you have a broken finger in football, it doesn't even count anyway. That doesn't count as an injury. All right, rapid fire real quick. Jalen Ramsey, thoughts?
I'm a Jalen Ramsey fan. I'm a Jaguar fan first. I wish him the best. I'm moving forward with the Jags. That's it.
They good enough to get the season back on track?
I think they're good enough to possibly make it to, I hope, 8-8. It's going to be tough. You got a lot of tough games. Still got division games against Houston and Tennessee and Texans, and you're just going to have to come out and play.
By the way, we saved the best for last, but our Baker Sports Coach of the Week that we didn't get to earlier in the week, but we do so in advance of our Game of the Week here coming up tonight from Baker County. It's actually the visiting coach, West Nassau's Ricky Armstrong. They're 6-1, so he is our winner of this week's Baker Sports Coach of the Week. The winner of chicken dinner. Last night I saw chicken fried with Zach Brown Band. Then we get chicken and rice from everybody here at Baker County. They've been outstanding hosts. You just said it, man. This is a great atmosphere for high school football.
Amazing atmosphere. Love it.
They got a police escort in. We're moving into the stadium across the road, and then we'll have this for you on all the social media platforms. And, of course, the call of the game tonight, Micah Ross, myself, West Nassau, Baker County, our high school game of the week, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Thanks to everyone else for helping out, Shannon, Kelly, and Freddie for cooking. It's outstanding. And we'll see you on TV tonight with the Friday Night Blitz, but we'll see you at 7 o'clock for the kickoff here in Baker County. Coos, nice job back there, buddy. Have a good weekend, everyone. And we'll see you all weekend long on CBS 47, Fox 30, and here on ESPN 690. Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jax, and there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners